Hello, ladies and gentleblacks. I'm not late. I am not late. I am not late this evening. I am not late. What happened was, let me clear my throat before I start the BS. What had happened was time blindness. Have we ever talked about time blindness before? It's a very real thing. It's a condition that some people have, some affected individuals, including myself. Um, I don't usually disclose my illnesses, but I think it's important that we all make space for people who are suffering from disability and such. Um, Hello, Cantor. Hello, Chica. So what had happened was I was just trying to find some good lighting because I don't like this. We're in a new space and I'm trying to make the lights. When I turn this light on, that light turns off. But when I turn that light on, this light turns off. And there's two more lights and they also turn on and off. But I can't. Yeah, this is a new location. Um, I finally found a home at work. No, no, no. I wouldn't stream at work. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do any such thing. That's what I'm not gonna do. A touch of CPT. I don't believe in that. I don't believe black people are purposefully late. I don't believe it's ingrained in our DNA. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. I rebuke it. Hello, D Nice. No, I am not at work. I am in somebody's garage. It is not my garage. Area 51. Okay, I'm gonna get out of these comments because y'all are playing. We're not here to play. We're here to talk about. We're here to talk about serious stuff. We're here to talk about serious stuff. Getting fired. I can't get fired from a job. Do y'all actually think I'm employed? What do y'all think I do for a living? I feel like we went over this in the Q&A. I feel like we went over this. So I'm looking for something because Bourbon Bougie put something out yesterday. I didn't realize Bourbon Bougie posts like 14 videos every day. I had no idea. I had no idea. Um, Bourbon Bougie is on her grind, and I wanted to watch that before we get into the actual mess. But before we get into Bourbon Bougie, we absolutely have to. We absolutely have to look at some memes that I saw. It is imperative that we look at some memes that I saw. Should I play the intro before the memes or after? I feel like I should play it after so I can celebrate. Excuse me, separate the the niggatry. The niggatry. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open these tabs. Are these Kenny type memes? That's actually what I should do. I guess the other MJs in the Discord. I should go to Kenny type memes and I should take all of Kenny's memes, and that's what we should do in the beginning of videos. Janitor 2.5. Thank you. Somebody remembered from the Q&A. Where and what in the world is going on? I feel like as people come in throughout the stream, I'm gonna have to explain where I am each time. My kidnapper won. I didn't run fast enough, so we're in his basement. He has a laptop down here, so we're gonna stream. We're gonna stream until 911 make it over here. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. But before we do that, let me share this meme with you guys because I think it's very important. I think it's very important. Let's put this on the stream because this is what I saw today, and this is what y'all need to see too. I wonder if the internet here is good. I guess we're gonna find out. Let's see what he has to say though.
This one, no bueno. This one, I'm confident. This one, no bueno.
Oh, it froze on my end.
This one, I'm confident.
It's freezing, and I don't like that. I can't show y'all memes if they're just gonna freeze. Love the hair. This is actually an accident. Um, I promise in person it looks terrible. It puts the lotion on its skin. It's nice the kidnapper let you use Wi-Fi. Hello, wake up, makeup slay. Welcome. Wake up, makeup slay said, "Hey, she didn't start talking about my background, make fun me, tell me I'm being kidnapped. She didn't do any of that. She was just like, hi, how are you? I'm well. Thank you. Wake up, makeup slay. I'm gonna leave that on the screen. Let's go to our next meme. This isn't a meme. This is just something I saw that I thought was interesting. They're making AI stuff, and one of the AI things that they made apparently is Steve Harvey drinking. And I don't know why I find this funny, but I think he's being cheated on or something lately. So I was scrolling down and I saw these and I was like, oh my God, what is Steve doing? AI has gone too far. And why is it Hennessy in every photo? Yeah, it's Hennessy and it's in the wrong type of bottle, unless that's a special bottle that I don't know about because I'm poor. I know about Hennessy. Okay, enough of that. So I was just surprised to find Steve Harvey in my news feed looking like that. Um, but apparently it was AI. But I was even more surprised. When I saw these. These were the good ones right here. So apparently somebody put into the AI picture making thing Steve Harvey running away from Monster, and it's just gone too far, y'all. It's gone too far. And somehow I don't know where they I don't know how the AI puts together the picture of Steve Harvey, but it looks like what I would imagine if he was running away from a monster in the middle of the woods. Like down to the face, down to the facial expression. I have no idea how they do this, but this is like really, really different from the topic that we're going to get into. But I feel like it's important for us to look at Steve and for us to feel him and what he must be going through. So I want us all to just do that for a second. Can we all just feel Steve? Can we all just feel Steve for a moment? Okay, that's enough of Steve. Let's get to our third and final meme. Let's get to our third and final meme. I like how y'all just let me subject y'all to anything and y'all just stay. I'm like, cool. So this is Jerry Springer, and I don't remember a lot about Jerry Springer, but this is something that I saw on my news feed, and I was like, okay.
This is the comment for the chubby girl all the way on the right. You might want to get one of these because your hairline is kind of messed up.
Ooh, why the cameraman do her like that? Look, y'all. I don't know who it was that passed away. I don't know if it was Jerry or Mari, because I feel like they were the same person when I was growing up. I don't even know the difference between them, but I never knew his show was like this. The only time I remember watching this show is when look, y'all, we didn't have what y'all have these days. My niece has a flat screen TV in my old room that my mom has now repurposed to be, it's like she has a pumpkin carriage bed. It takes up the whole room to the ceiling. I had to build it in my old room, which is so insulting. But anyway, she got a flat screen Roku TV in there. She got the remote that can change the channel to YouTube or Netflix or whatever she wanted to. Y'all, I had to share a TV with my sisters growing up, and I had to watch Real Housewives of whoever while I want to watch cartoons. And then we had to wait for the show to come on. We couldn't like go and find it like you do on Netflix. So if you miss the show at 8 p.m., you just missed the show until next week when it showed again. That's what happened. But also, I would watch Jerry Springer because I would be over at my grand's house. But I don't remember this.
This is a comment for the chubby girl all the way on the right. You might want to get one of these because your hairline is kind of messed up.
Y'all, I have no idea why anybody would go on this man's show. I don't know what he gave the audience, but the audience was on one. The audience was on one, on 2, 3, and 4. You told us you're kidnapped. I saw ones of him running away from monsters. Yep. Blink twice if you need help. I need help, but it's okay. I've seen the amount of super chats y'all send, and I know how much y'all do and do not care. Y'all be sending super chats when we get into the mess, so that's what we're gonna get into today. Y'all like the ghetto stuff. That's what my YouTube algorithm says. Y'all like the ghetto stuff. Welcome, Razan. I'm not bitter. Y'all just need to understand that we didn't have TV like y'all have it back in the day, and y'all are privileged. Y'all are privileged. Let me see. I need to find the one that I actually need to send y'all. Oh, this is the one I saw. Okay. I need us to see this together because I was confused.
What you want? I got you.
What the hell is that?
You know what it is.
You a fool, bro. I love the presentation.
Want to try some? It's called nectar. Trust me. But let me know. That's life right there.
Damn, we made that.
Yep.
Damn, that is good.
Thank you.
What you gonna do with it?
No, we're selling it. We're trying to let people know that sperm is actually very, very good and like protein. Yeah.
What the fuck you mean sperm?
Like kids?
Huh?
Like kids?
Bro, what the fuck? You got me to eat some fucking sperm, bro?
I thought you knew that.
No, bro. I don't know what the fuck that shit is, bro. How the fuck I'm eating sperm, bro?
You said it was good.
Because I thought this shit was ice cream with some icing or some shit.
You can use it for that.
You can use it for that. Did he say what I think he said? I like how y'all are saying my hair is cute. This is 100% an accident. I promise it's not even supposed to be this way. I also lost my microphone stand, so I have to hold it, which is unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Okay, so Bourbon Bougie made a video, and she made. Wait, let me do my intro so I can separate the niggatry from the serious stuff. Now that people are in here, I don't want y'all to see what we've been doing for the past 13 minutes. Okay. So, I lied. We got to watch one more. Never mind. I don't think I can show that on YouTube. That's going to be a Discord one. That's what that is, because... yeah, no, I'm watching it now. I don't think that's going to be something that makes it. Bourbon Bougie made a video. It's 8 minutes long. I don't know if we should watch it because I feel like it's completely unrelated to today's topic. But she was talking about someone who got caught on, I think it was TikTok. And he was talking to a child. He was talking to a girl child. And people were very concerned about children being on TikTok, but they were not concerned about the grown man talking to the child. So I was confused. Bourbon Bougie was confused. I feel like everything was just confusing. So I wanted Bourbon Bougie to make sense of that. So that's what we're going to look at.
An email of this Twitter thread with this 14-year-old girl exposing a man jumping in her DMs. She says, I'm 14, and he continues to talk. She put the screenshots on Twitter.
Wait, let me get my notepad out. Y'all know I like to take notes. I love taking notes. I need to take some notes. Okay, like I need to be like, okay, this is when he found out she was 14. This is when he kept talking. This is what he said after he knew. That's what I need to do. I need to take some notes.
And it caused some discussion. But basically, this is my reaction. Right to jail, right to jail. Yeah. If he's sending text messages or DMs to 14-year-olds and she tells him, I'm 14, and he continues, right to jail. So let's get into this. So this is the tweet from the 14-year-old girl. Can somebody get their overly grown uncle? And then she posts the first set of screenshots and his picture. Y'all, get y'all's teen daughters on board with exposing folks. Do that. If you have teenagers, understand that I know that parents want to protect them and just think that you can just keep them away from everything, but they need to understand the pitfalls that are going on right now. Because even if they're simply doing Roblox or clicking around kid apps, y'all need to understand that these people will still be in their inboxes, and y'all need to prepare them, because hiding.
Wait, I didn't know she posted a follow-up video today. I'm gonna look for that while this plays.
Hiding these people will simply not prepare them for what's to come. We need to be shining a light and putting them out there so that the next set of parents, the next set of teenagers know what to do and how to handle it. So this is the start. So the grown uncle, can we text? I'm bored. She says, I'm 14. He says, I won't tell nobody. So he was aware because she made him aware. He still continued, and he wanted to keep it a secret. This is what they do. This is low-key grooming. I won't tell nobody. Secrets is how people like this are able to continue to hunt secrets. So she's like,
Wait, I want to point out something that I think is important, because I used to watch, I binge watched To Catch a Predator last year with Chris Hansen. And it's really important when someone is in the child's DMs, and not only are they talking to them after they know that how old they are, but we don't have to tell anyone. We don't have to tell your friends. We don't have to tell your parents. Make sure to keep this a secret, because that implies that you know what you're doing is wrong. So I just thought that was important.
At that point, when she said, you already knew she was thinking about exposing this person, because immediately she came there and she did that. And then once she exposed him, he's like, can you please delete the post? I'm sorry. What this tells me is that these people are simply look at the way he speaks. They cannot talk to women their own age because they are still in the mindset of a teenager. Why can't they speak correctly? Because, if he's talking to a woman his own age, and women, we've already talked about this, are outnumbering men in college and getting our education. So at this point, guys are going younger and younger, and they are telling you that all the time, where they are disparaging.
This was a roast, by the way. So y'all are saying in the comments there's nothing to discuss and there's nothing to talk about, and y'all are saying y'all already watched the video and the follow-up, so we don't have to finish this video. We can go to our topic, and y'all can go and give y'all can go, not Themis and Thoth on the side here, y'all can go and give Bourbon Bougie y'all's a watch in today, because we don't steal content over here. That's not what we do. So be sure to go over there and finish that, and we can go to our topic. Our topic today is casual relationships. If you saw the thumbnail, I'm going to be looking at a YouTuber called Patience, and she had stuff to say about, hello, 88 Roshan. Welcome. If you're coming in just now and you're wondering about my surroundings, I have been kidnapped. I do have Wi-Fi and a laptop down here, so I'm okay. That's all I need. I can stream. So no, I'm not streaming from work. I have been kidnapped. And you know what kidnapped sounds like? It-Gab. Make sure to go watch It-Gab Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Themis and Thoth. Make sure to go and do that. Let's plug it, So let's put Patience on the screen. She made a video, and like most things on YouTube, I was watching a little bit of it, and then I was like, Okay, well, we're going to suffer together. I feel like if I'm suffering, we should suffer as a community, because I don't know how you guys feel about community, but I feel like the whole point of a community is that we can disperse things out amongst a large group of people, right? So instead of somebody stabbing me a lot, they can stab multiple people a little bit. So we all suffer a little bit instead of me suffering a lot. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like if I paid all the taxes in the United States, you know, and I just paid the 8 trillion a year or however much it is, I don't know. I feel like that would be too much. But if 154 million people or however many people are in the US, if they all paid just a little bit of taxes instead of me paying all 8 trillion, I feel like we would be okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to distribute. We're going to distribute across an even load the best promos and plugs for IGAB. What was I about to tell you guys about? I don't know if my friend is in the audience, but I'm going to tell her story before we get into this. Actually, no, I'm gonna wait until we get to that part of the video. So, ladies and gentlemen, patience. She's here to tell us the risk of casual relationships, and we are going to watch it and just react with an open mind. That's what we're gonna do. So,
hello my dears, welcome back to another video today.
Oh, and if you guys don't know who Patience is, I'm wary to say this because Kidology made a video about it, but I do think she's kind of like Kidology. And let me put it on the screen because Kidology was not playing with y'all. Kidology was not playing. Kidology made a whole video 9 months ago because people were comparing her to Patience and Candace Owens and saying that they're all the same. And she was saying that that was racist towards Black women or something. I don't know. It's been 9 months since I watched Kidology's video. But let me see. Yeah, so people are saying that Patience is kind of like Kidology, and you guys know that we are big fans of Kidology over here, so we're gonna love Patience. That's what I feel. I don't know. I just checked my comments. I don't know what's going on. Facebook dating. What's going on? Did y'all find my profile? I don't know how or why, but they take those phones and be on Facebook dating. They do have whole smartphones in prison. What is going on? Oh, London Link started this. Being in jail with a cell phone. Thank you. Bullet Magnet sent $1.99 to free me. I appreciate that. Now let's start this video.
We are going to be talking about consent. No, this is not your sex ed class. I want to be talking about the sexual revolution and how it's changed the way we talk about consent, as well as...
Oh, let me stop because my bad. I need my notepad out. I'm supposed to be taking good and thorough notes. Let y'all distract me in these comments. So y'all like my hair when it's an accident, but not when it's on purpose? I'm going to continue to say this is an accident. It is not on purpose. So there, I have my notepad out. Now we can take some notes. She's going to talk to us about consent. She says, consent.
Sexual experiences, etc. This is something that I've been thinking about, especially after seeing feminists such as Louise Perry, who released the book The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, reading her work and also seeing her in interviews discuss how the ways in which women...
Let me pause and take a note. Louise Perry. And this feminist made a case against the sexual revolution. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Not now able to talk about sexual experiences has changed so much, and it's kind of caused quite some complications. And so I want to discuss that with you in this video because I can see a lot of truth in the stuff that she argues. So let's get into how we got here. Decades ago, the Western world abandoned its historically Christian views of sexual morality and instead embraced the liberal feminist sex-positive philosophy as its new ethos. We threw out our old understandings of sexual norms and decided that consent was all that matters. Along the way, we threw out old vocabulary.
Wait, I have become confused. Okay, so at some point we threw out our Christian views of sex and decided that consent is all that matters. I don't remember that, but I did take a note, so I have noted it.
Like chivalry and gentlemanly behavior, because the liberal feminists made it clear that these words were outdated and sometimes demeaning, because women should be treated just like men. Because yes, ladies, you can open your own door and you can pull out your own chair. You can't seem to pay for your own meal, though. That seems to be where people draw the line.
Okay, so let's see. Making sure to take notes. Women can open their own doors, but can't pay for dates. Got it. Well, not women. She said liberal feminists specifically. So let me make that little addendum. Abandoned, embraced. Those the words you want to use. Whose child is this? It's 2023. People still talking about body count, embrace. Yeah, I don't think we've embraced what she's talking about, but this is triggering. I feel like I'm back in Catholic school. Let me find out y'all have some Catholic background. I'm gonna stop shaking my camera eventually, but not today.
Equality, but not that kind of equality. You're not a maniac. The new sex positive ethos.
Okay, my bad. I didn't finish noting. So the liberal feminists are saying that they should open their own doors but not pay for the date. I don't know if that's factually correct. The data seems to suggest that women are quote unquote going 50-50 more and more. I do wish that women were saying the man will pay everything and doing. I do wish that that was what the data reflected, but it doesn't seem to be. So yeah, I wish women were saying, nah, I don't pay for the date, but apparently y'all are out here going 50-50 these days. So
was able to be set into motion because of new technological advancements such as the contraceptive pill. The pill allowed women better control over their fertility, and with this biological restraint now removed from women, it made it more easier for them to level out the playing field and to pursue sex like men. And so they did. Casual sex became more normalized, and the stigma that was once held around it began to fade. Only there was one key problem that...
Okay, so birth control made women start having sex. I'm taking thorough notes, I promise, guys. That's the only reason I keep pausing. I just want to make sure we are getting a good understanding. Casual sex. I do think there was a sex boom when birth control was introduced that eventually tapered back off. So I don't think that's 100% incorrect.
The liberal feminists did not account for, and that was the psychological differences between men and women and the differences between male and female sexuality. The sexual revolution...
Okay. So feminists did not account for... Do y'all think I should stop pausing and just let it play? Because I feel like I'm taking too many notes. Those dumb feminists, they never would have thought that men would try to abuse their sexuality. The feminists just didn't think of it.
was supposed to create a fun utopian world where sex could just be a fun leisure activity, but it did unfortunately run into some problems along the way. However, for the playboys, this new world was a dream come true for them. The men who had multiple options and wanted to have limitless sex without having to commit to any women, this new world was brilliant, and this was the world they were able to thrive in. And this is why you'll find figures like Hugh Hefner played their part in helping to push the sexual revolution.
One of the points, I know that in a little while we're going to be talking with some feminists here tonight.
I do wish she would this is a critique for the entire video, I think, because I haven't finished it yet, so maybe it's in the end, but I don't think she cited anything besides a news article or two in this, and then used anecdotes. So I don't like... If you want to in my mind, if you want to prove that when birth control is introduced, feminists were so dumb that they never would have thought that men would use them for sex, and so the men like Hugh Hefner started using women for sex and having multiple women. If you want to prove something like that, I feel like there may be some research that you can look to around whether or not women in this time period when birth control is introduced are let it play for like let her talk for 5 minutes and then stop. Okay, got it. I do think you could go to data and look at this and see, are men having concurrent relationships with women? That's some data we looked at when we were looking at Ralph Richard Banks, for example, who was looking at black women and men in college, and had data to prove that the men were having concurrent relationships because they were at the top of a hierarchy, right? And they're a very, very rare commodity. So I feel like you can look to data to prove this instead of just being like, my proof is Hugh Hefner.
Right. I think that sexual emancipation and female emancipation work hand in hand, and that the sexual revolution that's taken place here is one of the greatest boons to female emancipation, because the women have the most to gain. It's women that have really had that really second-class citizenship role at best, and at least really have been an object and have paid dearly for it in the centuries past.
Within this new culture, men and women are socialized to believe that there are no differences between them sexually. Men are taught that women are equally as up for it as they are, and that women enjoy sex in the same way that men do. And yes,
I know y'all said to let it play, but I just feel like this is not true. I don't feel like men are taught that, oh, women having sex is just like you having sex, and I don't feel like women are taught that either. I feel like, not Petty being a scholar, that's the thing. I don't feel like this is scholarly. I don't feel like this is very critical thinking at all. This just feels like reality. There is data that I can use to prove this, but outside of the data, the idea that men and women are taught that their bodies and having sex is exactly the same for both of them seems really, really ludicrous to me, especially if you're talking about feminism. I do think what's trying to be taught is the stigma, or rather lack of stigma, that men have when they go out and engage in sex should be removed when women have sex. So I do hear talk, especially if she's speaking about feminists, around that specifically, around equalizing the lack of stigma around having sex. I don't hear like, oh, men and women having sex is the exact same thing.
women love sex, but not exactly in the same way that men do. It seems that even sex-positive feminists started to realize that on average, women were not quite having the same feelings about casual sex as men, and articles started to pop up to help them get through it. 4 tips for hooking up without catching feelings, according to a relationship counselor. 12 ways to not fall for a guy you're casually hooking up with. How to navigate casual sex and feelings, according to sex experts. The reality is, women are far more likely to develop an attachment to someone they're sleeping with regularly.
I don't feel like you can just look at article headlines and use that as data. I do dislike that.
Even if they're not in a committed relationship. They also have a much lower threshold for sexual disgust, or they're much more likely to get the ick, as the kids are saying. This new sex-positive ethos also completely ignores the biological differences between men and women, which isn't too surprising because liberal feminists do have a habit of ignoring biology because it often conflicts with their goals, because men have much higher levels of...
Okay, let me pause. Liberal feminists ignore biology because it conflicts with goals. Got it.
Testosterone. They typically have much higher sex drives. On average, women tend to be a lot more agreeable than men, which means it's a lot easier to pressure them into doing things that they don't want to do. Now, pair that with the fact that on average, women also tend to be a lot smaller and also physically weaker than men, and this combination can lead to some tricky situations. This has led to multiple instances of women saying that they felt pressured into doing sexual things that they didn't want to do, either because they felt pressure from the person they were sleeping with, or they felt pressure to conform to our sex-positive culture. Feminist author Louise Perry argues,
okay, so women feel pressured to have sex because of the man. And because of feminist culture. Got it.
Argues that because the liberal feminists threw out all our old sexual norms and also threw out all our old vocabulary, the only thing they left us with was consent. We no longer have the vocabulary anymore to describe negative sexual experiences that aren't quite illegal but are still bad. It's put us in a situation.
We don't have the vocabulary to describe negative sexual experiences that are not RAPE. I feel like we do have that. I do feel like that exists. If you guys remember when we did research on the OGAP, or maybe my members, I think that's a members only video. But no, that does exist. There is thorough research on that. I feel like the language is there. But I'm also unsure of what she means when she says we threw out all of our old language and now all we have is consent. I don't know what that means. I'm lost. Like, I'm actually lost.
Where because consent is all we have left, the only way we can now talk about these experiences is through the framework of consent. And the only terms that are still available to us are the legal ones, such as rape, sexual assault, or sexual harassment. This could be why some people have noticed that the threshold for what we consider to be rape, sexual assault, or sexual harassment seems to be a lot lower than it used to be, with people sharing interesting takes like this on social media. And this
Okay, let's see. The threshold for RAPE has lowered. Now, in my mind, when she says that, what I'm thinking is like some states where, let me Google this real quick before I say something without I know she's saying stuff without like any research, but I feel like we should research before we say things. So when she says that the threshold for what is considered RAPE has changed, immediately what I'm thinking about is the idea that you can't RAPE property, right? So maybe if you owned slaves back in the day, or if you were married and your wife can't get recourse if you do something to her forcefully, because that's how can you assault your property or whatever the law used to say. But it looks like, yes, that's now illegal in all 50 US states. And prior to 1970, marital RAPE was legal in every state. So I was thinking about stuff like that. But the example she has on the screen, let me make it bigger, is I've had consensual sex and regretted it later. I thought I wanted to do it, made a mistake. Someone replied, if you regret it, then you didn't consent 100%, and that is RAPE. Now, again, I dislike using like Twitter screenshot or article headline screenshots to prove something. I feel like if you want to prove that something is a problem in modern society, then what you should look to is data to see, do women feel this way about RAPE generally, or is this like a Twitter take that two people agree with? So I do think it's weird, her framing, because in my mind, if I'm talking about the idea that what's considered rape has changed and become more lax, I'm thinking of the positive sides, of course, like you are now able to get criminal or legal action against your husband, for example, if he does something to you. So, yeah.
This perspective has led to memes like this.
Wait, she's going through the memes too fast.
Sexual assault or sexual harassment seems to be a lot lower than it used to be, with people sharing interesting takes like this on social media. And this perspective has led to memes like
rape is wrong, but having sex that you regret isn't RAPE.
Like this, and tweets like,
ladies, remember you can revoke consent at any time. You wake up in the morning and your Tinder date isn't as cute as you thought, RAPE. Your boyfriend breaks up with you and stops paying rent, RAPE. You turn on your TV and you see a guy you slept with 20 years ago is now a right-wing commentator, RAPE. I feel like this is either satire or someone joking. I think satire because it's a male profile picture. So I don't understand her using this as, again, if this is her proof, I don't feel like a satirical post is what you should use. Yeah.
this, as well as discussions like this.
Ava, your point about, if men were that alpha, then they wouldn't be that bothered by this, doesn't really help us when it comes to boys growing up. And that is one of my worries, that for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
See, I
and there
like
is
that
far
terror.
too much.
If you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, she says about young boys, these boys are scared that their whole life is now in jeopardy. Now, I don't see the problem yet, so I'm going to listen some more.
Well,
I like that.
As a
I
mother
think
of
that
a
men should
teenage
be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like
Really?
that terror.
I do.
Interesting.
That is
I think that
awful.
men should be frightened.
I think
to
you
touch
feel
women
differently if you
they're
were,
not
if you
comfortable
were.
with.
But we're talking about
Yeah, but we're not talking
teenagers,
about. I'm
children.
not talking about.
We're talking
yeah, but
about
it's an
young
interesting thing
children.
that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too. That's to me toxic femininity. That is saying you.
Okay, so toxic femininity is you boys should be scared to touch women without their consent. That is toxic femininity. For a reference,
Should all be terrified, you men. If you put one
assaulting.
Well, I think we all understand what sexual
What is an
assault is.
assault?
What Isabel's talking about is that young teenage clump.
I don't think we all understand what sexual assault is, and the reason I say that is because when it feels like when they're talking about sexual assault, the idea that a young man touches a girl without her consent or is rubbing and feeling on her is just like a mistake, and he's just a kid and just learning and dating and stuff. They don't feel like that's assault. I feel like maybe a lot of people have a sensationalized idea of assault, and they think that someone's going to jump out the bushes like the boogeyman and drag you down a dark alley or drug your drink in the club or something like that. So I don't feel like they have. When he says we all know what SA is, I don't think they do, or this might not. In my mind, if they did, this wouldn't be a back and forth conversation. You're literally having a conversation about men being able to touch women without their consent. And then after you say, we all know what sexual assault is, and that's not sexual assault, which it is. So
Clumsiness in many cases, which is now being recategorized as assault. Is that a problem?
It's not being
Clumsiness. I think we all understand what sexual
What is an
assault is.
assault?
What Isabel's talking about is that young teenage clumsiness in many cases, which is now being recategorized as assault. Is that a problem?
It's not being recategorized as assault. It's always been assault. It's just we're finally talking about it.
I don't agree with that.
That's
But
ridiculous.
Teenage boys.
wait, let me just say, this blonde woman is giving a base take in my mind. She's like, no, this has always been assault. Remember, we talked about marital RAPE, right? I'm trying to be YouTube friendly, but I feel like there have already been a lot of great bums during the video, so I don't know. But I feel like this woman is incredibly based. We were talking about a marital partner taking advantage of his wife, and she has no recourse because during certain time periods, women weren't considered human in the way that men are, and they don't have rights in the way that men are. And for you to be assaulted by your husband is not considered something that you can get criminal or legal action for. So now that that's outlawed, I assume her take about that, for example, I was just using that as an example, would be it's always been marital RAPE. We're just now updating the language to include that instead of saying that this is just a man doing with his property what he wants to do. But it looks like Piers Morgan and the rest of the people at the table are like, the language is, maybe this is what Patience meant when she said the language is changing now and all we have is consent, or so. I don't know what that means. Maybe this is what it means. Maybe this, I don't know what else it could mean.
Fumbling with
That's hard.
teenage girl is not
Not even
in
that.
most cases assault.
Do you remember Aziz Ansari, right? Half the heels of Me Too, half the heels of Harvey Weinstein, rightly being dragged through the courts and should have got way worse than just prison time, in my opinion. Aziz Ansari had a consensual relationship with a woman. She felt a bit awkward and afterwards rescinded consent, and he was lumped in and he had his
No, I'm
career
with you on that one.
cancelled.
I'm with
So
you.
then why should men be afraid of that?
Because he didn't.
Did Piers Morgan go to jail? Excuse me, not Piers Morgan. Who are they talking about? Harvey Weinstein. Did he go to jail because he had consensual sex with a woman who then came back and said she regretted it? Or did he go to jail because of the other 75 cases of RAPE that he did do? I don't understand the idea that I don't understand that example he used. Maybe it's me. Let me go back one more time.
In my opinion, Aziz Ansari had a consensual relationship with a woman. She felt a bit awkward and afterwards rescinded consent, and he was lumped in and he had his
No,
career
I'm with you on that one.
cancelled.
I'm with
So then
you.
why should men be afraid of that?
Because he didn't touch her without consent, did he?
No, but she
But
rescinded his consent, and
how are
she
young
saw
boys
that
supposed to
then
navigate
as something.
this, the whole
Yeah, I
thing?
agree.
I'm thinking
You
of
need
my
to have-
teenage son. You know, he's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind if I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand- I mean,
extremely
come
strong
on,
woman. I
come
know.
on.
What's my son supposed to do? Is he supposed to say, would you mind if I put my hands on your waist? Why does my son have to ask your daughter before putting his hands on her? I literally don't understand this panel. I am so confused. I'm like, that this is even a conversation 3 seconds after Piers Morgan just said, we all know what sexual assault is. That's not what we're talking about. I'm just saying, why should my son have to ask for permission to put his hands on your daughter's waist? Let me go back to make sure I heard it right before I get upset.
He's 14. How
And
are
she
young
saw
boys
that then
supposed to
as
navigate
something.
this, the whole
Yeah, I
thing?
agree.
I'm thinking
You
of
need
my
to have-
teenage son. You know, he's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind if I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand and then
extremely
come
strong
on,
woman. I
come
know
on.
in your house you're
Like that way, that's actually a legitimate example that she used for her case is, what is my son supposed to do? Ask your daughter for permission? Yes. Yes. Am I tripping? Put a 1 in the comments if you think what is my son supposed to do? Ask your daughter for permission is like a crazy question. Put a 2 if that's a legitimate question, and we should be concerned that boys are now having to ask before putting their hands on girls. Please put a 1 if you think that what she said was crazy. Put a 2 if you agree with what she says. Because I'm confused. Wait, I can make polls. What am I doing? I could just make a poll. I could just make a poll. What should the poll say? Is asking for permission too much for boys to do? There, I put a poll in the comments because I don't even remember what 1 and 2 was. Y'all stop putting the 1s and 2s. I don't even remember what was 1. Was 1 should he or shouldn't he? And 2 was what was the who? Please put a please just vote on the poll. Don't worry about the 1 and the 2. Okay, we're 100% no. That's what I'm saying. Because I wanted to pause. Because I haven't watched the whole video. Hello, Tweety Bird 88. You just came in for the niggatry. The question is, since you just came in, I see a couple people just came in. The question is, why haven't you liked the video? The second question is, let me pull it up. Is asking for a permission too much for boys to do? Permission specifically, she used the example of her son, her 14-year-old or whatever son, putting his hands around a girl's waist. She said that she thinks it's ludicrous that her son has to ask for permission to touch your daughters, and that we shouldn't call something like that SA, and that we're taking it too far, and that boys are just like learning and they don't know what they're doing. Hello, Luana Dean. Howdy. She used cray cray 1. I think the 1 was the good answer. So if you picked 1, Gucci gang. If you pick 2, I don't see 2, so I'm not addressing them. Sounds like she's teaching her son how to get prepared for prison time. Let me watch it one more time. I want to make sure I don't want to misrepresent anybody. I want to give her. I'm not about to interpret it for her. I'm gonna let her speak herself because.
How are young boys supposed to navigate this, the whole thing? I'm thinking of my teenage son.
How is a young boy supposed to navigate this? Is he supposed to act like the way that they're like, this is so crazy? Anyway, sorry.
No, he's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind if I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand
extremely
and
strong
come
woman.
on,
I
come
know
on.
in your house you're teaching them the difference between assault and then
Of course.
to
But
someone. I know you are.
what we're talking about is be very.
She is not teaching that in her house. She is teaching her son, you shouldn't have to ask a girl. It's upsetting. She is teaching her sons, the fact that you have to say, can I put my hands around your waist is disgusting. And it's gone too far.
Very interesting watching the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, how it's all developed, because a lot of very bad people, Harvey Weinstein and others, got their due comeuppance. We can all agree with that.
Yeah.
This is not even something to be debated. We're really talking about the grey line, right? Where is that grey line?
Yeah.
How do you navigate it when you're an experienced adult and you've been?
Where is that gray line? Like, where? Oh my God! Like, how are you even supposed to navigate it? Like, oh, should I just like touch women without asking them, or like, is that the gray line? Like, what do I even like? Has Me Too gone too far? I have to now ask before touching people without their consent. So crazy! Oh my goodness! Like, where is the line? Where are we going to draw the line?
Around the grey line, right? Where is that grey line? Yeah. How do you navigate it when you're an experienced adult and you've been around the block in many ways? You can navigate that much more intelligently and with emotional intelligence than you can if you're a teenage boy. And I think the point Isabel makes is a good one. I've had 3 sons in my 20s.
As an adult, you can navigate that much easier than a teenage boy. Keep in mind, the situation we're talking about is, well, the specific example she gave, which nobody pushed back against, so it looks like they might all be in agreement. Why can't my son put his hands around your daughter's waist? Why does he have to ask her to do that? Piers Morgan says, as an adult, we all know that this is, wrong, but what about boys who don't know that it's wrong? I feel like somehow girls know it's wrong. I feel like somehow young girls know it's wrong. I feel like all of any women friends that I have told me about being 8, 9, 11 and grown men hitting on them and doing X, Y, and Z. So I don't feel like what he said about grown men knowing is even valid at all, especially when we just look at the video from Bourbon Bougie where the grown man is talking to 14-year-olds. And the way that men talk about girls online, talking about when you're young and fertile and I don't want no old used up 21-year-old, I don't even know if what he's saying is true about grown men knowing better. But keep in mind, what he's saying young boys are not old enough to do is ask before putting their hands on a girl. And I don't understand what age you figure that out, but I feel like girls know when they're a certain age that they don't want to be touched without consent. So I don't understand why boys don't know not to touch people without consent. But maybe they can explain it to us.
I've always taught them to be respectful to women. I believe they are. But I do think it's really hard for a 16, 17-year-old boy now in this environment to know even how to start having some kind of physical relationship with a woman.
Those good boys.
How do we even do it, guys? Jesus, how do I even start a physical relationship with a lady? Should I just start touching her without consent, or should I ask her first? Or like, how do we even know? It's just too confusing. It's just too confusing. How do we even figure? It's so hard. Like, what do we even do? Oh my God. It's a real brain teaser, guys. I've been thinking about this one for years. How do we do this? How am I supposed to start a relationship with a girl if I have to ask her for consent first? Like, how do I even navigate that? What is the protocol for something like that? One of the top 10 questions that humanity can't answer. It's not hard to check in while having sex. Simple as, can you take it? You like that? Let me find out y'all have the language. Because Patience said we lost the language and all we know is consent. I think one gender has the language and one gender only knows consent. And if they hear a yes, they do any and everything and put things in the wrong hole and don't ask questions throughout. I think one side knows the language and one side don't. These young boys know about consent when they get touched by someone they are not attracted to. So they are doing the absolute most. You know what's interesting? If you've been here for a really, really long time and you remember that guy who I spoke with because he said the lady who was on the street was pretty and she looked pretty and he told her and she rolled her eyes and he got mad and he was like, okay, well, you a B word, F-U, S-L-U-T. And I was like, part of what I was talking to him about was trying to get him to understand the perspective, because he was like, I was like, she's probably been hit on by a bunch of people today and it's probably irritating to just like want to pump your gas or work out at the gym or work at your job and someone's coming up to you and talking to you and giving you unsolicited compliment. Like, even if you think that you're doing something good, she might be really annoyed. And he's like, oh, but I'm not one of those guys, which I found weird because you just told me about why can't I call her the B word and the S-L-U-T word if she rejects my compliment? So I feel like you're one of those guys, but whatever, different conversation for a different day. But part of he was making a really big deal about I'm not those guys. I didn't say something rude like nice breast or something. I was just like, you look pretty. And I was like, okay, what if a gay man came up to you and he was like, hey, you look really, really nice today. And he looked like he want to feel and touch on you. And you're like, no thank you or something. So he starts yelling at you, getting loud and cursing you out. He said that's different because I'm not attracted to men. And I don't understand the difference because that woman wasn't attracted to you. Well, I don't know if she was attracted or not, but I do know that she was trying to go about her day and you were accosting her. But I feel like whenever I bring up the idea of a grown man coming up by you in the club and putting his hands on your waist so he can get by, or a grown man like touching your butt, or a grown man grabbing and feeling on you or complimenting you, or being like really really vulgar, like them that dick print or what, I don't know what gay men talk about, I really don't. That dick printing in them pants, that dick is dicking, I don't know what they say, I really don't, I'm trying. But I feel like men know exactly what's going on. Men know exactly what's going on, because if they were in a situation where a grown man wanted to touch and feel on them, I feel like suddenly the tone shifts and everything changes. And it's like, no, why is another grown man touching me? To the point where people will even start swinging and throwing hands if they think that something gay is going on around them. So I don't understand if this is your reaction when another man is touching and feeling on you. I don't understand how you don't see what women are saying. The dick is dicking. Hi, level up single mom. The dick is dicking today. We're not getting monetized on this video. It's fine, because I have members. Yay. Thank you, anyone who's a member, for being a member. I'm talking to you, the other MJ. So golden, wake up, makeup, slay. Just a couple names that I've seen in the chat, but my bad. Yeah, I feel like I don't even know where that comment is, but whatever. Where is it? Because that's the whole reason why I said these young boys know about consent when they get touched by someone they are not attracted to, so they're doing the most. Yes, they do. I feel like they do, and I feel like people are playing in my face when they pretend, oh my God, so I can't put my hand. Okay, let a grown man come put his hands on your waist, and you say that a grown man shouldn't be touching another grown man, and he's like, I'm just learning and navigating. Why are you being so weird about this? You need to give me space to learn. Like, how was I supposed to know you didn't want me to put my hands on your waist? In pre-K, the kids not to touch each other in line and keep your hands to yourselves and not touch people without permission. We do this every day. Yeah. So they're going to pretend like pre-K don't exist. Because why did I forget what I learned in pre-K? Keep your hands to yourself. That's literally what they told us. They want to date like caveman, walk up and drag a woman away. Yes, if you can't navigate it as a teenage boy, the obvious thing to do is literally ask consent to leave no room for confusion. But patience is upset because the language has changed and all we know is consent. I feel like we don't know consent. I feel like we're having a very long conversation about consent, and we don't know. Not me. I feel like I know, but I feel like we, society, right, don't know what consent is. Maybe that's why the conversation is happening, because we're still confused about why can't I put my hands on a girl if she says no. Apparently that's where we are. So
are all terrified. I know that from talking to my son. He's just like, I'm just not going there. Is that healthy?
Yes, I think it is actually. I think it's better to not have a physical relationship than to have one that could ruin a woman's life.
And so this takes.
I think it's valid. Wait, can I replay that? Hold up.
In this environment, to know even how to start having some kind of physical relationship with a woman.
Those good boys are all terrified. I know that from talking.
Those good boys who just want to touch and feel on girls without their consent, they're all just terrified because now they can be persecuted for it.
To my son, he's just like, I'm just not going there. Is that healthy?
Yes, I think it is actually. I think it's better to not have a physical relationship than to have one that could ruin a woman's life.
And so this
is it healthy? Thank you. Is it healthy that boys are afraid to put their hands on women without consent? And based blonde lady, I'm gonna find her name because I don't know why she was on that panel. Maybe they thought she would agree with everything that they were saying. I really don't know, because they can't be friends. But everything that she's saying, I'm feeling like, why is this even a conversation? Yes, it's better for someone to say, can I have your permission to put my hands on you, instead of ruining someone's life because you're just a boy growing up or something. I don't even know what they're talking about. Just a boy going through the changes The girls are also going through changes, but they need to endure when we're going through our changes, which involve touching them without their consent. So
takes us to the issue of allegations. There are some men who think that there are women who go out of their way to maliciously make up allegations in order to ruin men's lives. And I'm not going to deny that women like that absolutely do exist. There are a minority of women who are definitely vindictive enough to do things like that, and we've seen examples of them. I do also think that
I do appreciate that she says this is a minority of women who make up allegations. I think the data says something like 5 to 6%. Hold up. Let me fact check. Well, I remember doing research. I was doing research specifically on children because Kevin Samuels, back when he was still breathing, before the woman sat on him and suffocated him, or I don't remember how he passed away, but I do remember that we were surprised. But he used to talk about. Let me see if I can find this clip. He was talking about if I'm in a relationship with you and your child accuses me of touching them, would you believe the child? And the woman was like, yes, I would. And he was like, that's the problem with you women. He was sorry. It's not funny. I feel like I might have laughed out of nervousness, and I apologize because it's not funny. But he was like, children lie all the time and they make up stuff. And I need to know what type of life he's lived because I'm concerned. If somebody says that children lie about something like that all the time. So I looked up the data, and the data was something like 2 to 8%. And I think it was even less for children specifically. False reports, 2 to 8%. Brown University estimates 2 to 10%, and rigorous research rates of false reports are consistently very low, ranging from 2 to 10%. In spite of these statistics, misconceptions are repeated in many ways. False reports are a common trope in fiction. They listed Mice and Men, To Kill a Mockingbird, etc., Law and Order, and they receive significant media attention. So they also noted some news tabloids who use words to diminish rape allegations. Sorry, I just wanted to pause to look at that, but I do appreciate that she at least said the idea of false accusations being widespread. No, right? That's a small percent of people.
there could be something else going on here. There seems to be a portion of women who genuinely believed that they were either assaulted or raped, even if what they describe doesn't fit our legal definition or fit our traditional understanding of what these words mean. And since post-revolution...
Let me pause real quick, because I actually want to look this up. I should have done this before the video, but I'm going to look it up now. I just want to see if what she was talking about... Wait, do y'all have my Cash App? Somebody sent me a Cash App for Cash and Coins just now. Sonia. So you have all the... Do y'all have my Cash App? Or is this a random person? Let me see what it says. So you have all the coins. Well, thank you, Sonia. If this is someone in the audience. I didn't know y'all had my Cash App. So that's cool. No Cash App. I have my Cash App listed. I have not put my Cash App on the screen in like 3 months. Oh, it's in the description. Okay. I thought y'all found me. I was finna change all my personal information. All of it. I was finna change every password, every bank account, everything. But thank you, Sonia. Well, usually people write a super chat, but my Cash App is like disconnected. So if you have something you want to super chat, I guess you could just write it and I'll put it on the screen. So just let me know about that. Thank you.
because we threw out all of our old sexual norms and we also threw out all of the old vocabulary, people no longer have the words to describe the things that happen in the gray area. And this is especially a problem in a...
Oh, wait, why did I unpause? I'm literally was looking up whether or not, is it assault to touch women without consent? Specifically in a suggestive manner, since they're talking about okay, so apparently it's called sexual misconduct. But it can also be considered assault. I think it depends on maybe the jurisdiction you're in, or it might be considered both, actually, because the definition of assault refers to sexual contact or behavior that occurs without explicit consent of the victim. Some forms include attempted RAPE, fondling or unwanted sexual touching. Maybe this could be touching the waist, depending on the context, forcing victim to do acts and other things that I cannot read out loud. So that could be considered assault, even though she's saying we lost the language and what we're talking about isn't even the legal definition of assault, but it is the literal definition of assault. It is. So I feel like, again, what I said earlier, I don't feel like we as a society have lost the language. I feel like the language is here. It is available. We are using it correctly, and people don't like that we're using it correctly. That's what I feel like. People don't like that we're using it correctly.
Sex positive society where people are having casual sex, because oftentimes people are having sex with people who they don't know very well. And so because they don't know each other very well, they may not know what the person does or doesn't like, or what the person is and isn't comfortable with. And this is especially a problem because the reality is when people have sex, they don't announce everything they're going to do to the person before they do it. Can you imagine if they did that? I'm going to relocate you into a different sex position now. I shall be commencing this maneuver in 3, 2, 1. So
I wanted to also point out, one of the news people did this too, but less extreme than that. I wanted to ask why they're being so extreme with their examples. And I feel like it's because they can't conceptualize consent, right? The idea that a man leans in towards a girl and says, "Can I kiss you?" instead of just assuming she's okay with that and leaning in to do it without asking her. I don't think they understand that concept. So they have to say something extremely like flagrant like this. "I am requesting authorization to connect my lips to yours. Please grant permission before I can." I have no idea why her example is so extreme. The only reason I feel like she's making such an extreme example is because she can't conceptualize consent as a normal part of intimacy, right? She can only fathom it as if it's extreme, like a military officer requesting permission to do something. That's how extreme I think they think something as simple as asking for consent is. So me personally, in my anecdotal experience, I feel like I know a lot of women who would prefer a partner who during sex asks some questions instead of just doing stuff or putting something in a hole that it doesn't belong in. I've heard that one a lot. Like, I feel like, "Hey, can I turn you over?" Like, the idea that your partner's like, "Hey, let me turn you over," or "Hey, turn over," or something like that, communicating with you, right? I feel like it doesn't have to be as extreme as she did it. Maybe hold up. Let me watch it again. Maybe it wasn't that extreme. Let me see.
they're going to do to the person before they do it. Can you imagine if they did that? I'm going to relocate you into a different sex position now. I shall be commencing this maneuver in 3, 2, 1. So since that isn't how...
Okay, yeah. So definitely no, I was not exaggerating. They are just that extreme with how they view the idea of asking consent. It's so foreign to them that they can't conceptualize it. So that's how they think it is. That's how they think it is. So that's just wild to me. That's wild. And this is a conversation where she's saying we've lost all language and all we have is consent. I still don't know what that means. I don't think she's explained it. If she has, I don't think she's explained it well, or I'm slow. There's always that possibility that I'm slow. I will leave space for that. But I feel like we should, okay, if you feel like we've lost all language and now all we have is consent, I feel like you should at least understand consent, both from a theoretical and practical perspective, because what you just did was not practical at all. And then we can move past consent. Like maybe if that's how you feel, that we've lost all language but consent, maybe we should do our best to understand consent before we move forward to whatever reality you want to be in.
Oh, your normal average person has sex. Often what's happening is people are having sex with people who they don't really know that well. And so they're doing certain things that they don't know are going to be received negatively, especially because a lot of the time young men are just imitating what they see in porn.
Oh, by the way, I don't think I don't know how much merit I give to people are having sex with people they don't know that well. Especially when we're in a conversation about a lack of consent, SARAPE, which tends to be done by a intimate partner, right? I'm thinking husband, excuse me, husband, boyfriend, etc. I'm not thinking like random one night hookup. I don't know if the research indicates that women are having a lot of casual hookups. I do know that women and men have somewhere between 2 to 8 sexual partners over a lifetime. Everything between 2 and 8 is considered average. If I remember what I read this morning correctly, I think everywhere between 2 and 8. So I don't feel like the reason that all of this is going on is because people are just out there having a bunch of casual sex. I think the rates of, if I'm right, I think the rates of sex are decreasing. Hold up. Let me look this up. I'm pretty sure both men and women are having less sex than ever. Or am I misremembering? A slight majority of 18 to 30-year-olds, 52% reported having one sexual partner in 2021, a decrease from 2020, according to the UCLA survey. The proportion of young adults who reported having 2 or more also declined from 23% in 2011 to 10% in 2021. So it looks like it's nearly halved in a decade. I know we generally talk about young, lonely, single men and stuff like that having less sex, but I'm pretty sure it's men and women. Yeah. So no, I don't even like, it doesn't make sense to me. This is why I like Google stuff. And I feel like it's so easy to just Google before you say something, but people don't. So it's fine.
And they don't realize they've done anything wrong until the girl reacts badly. But by that point, it's often already too late. And because we no longer have a way,
they don't realize they've done anything wrong until the girl reacts badly. I don't believe that. I read some really compelling research today that showed that they asked men anonymously, if you had the chance to assault someone or take something from someone, I'm trying not to be colorful with my language, but if you had the chance to be aggressive with someone or do something without someone's consent against their will, would you do it? And I think something like 34% of men said, yes, I would. And then we also have the research regarding what was her name? I think, is it Dr. Edwards? She and some collaborators had a research on, it's called Denying RAPE but Endorsing Forceful Intercourse. I just pulled it up, where they ask men, hey, let me see the example question. Have you ever coerced someone to intercourse by holding them down? And the men would answer yes. They would ask, have you ever RAPE'd someone? And the men would answer no. So the men would openly admit to doing behavior that's aggressive as a part of their normal sex life with women. But only when you called it RAPE would they be like, no, I've never done that before, even though they've already admitted to literally one of the example questions is, do you hold women down and force them to have sex with you? So I don't believe it's men who are just like making a mistake and then they didn't even know it was wrong until after when the girl regretted. Like, I don't believe that.
Way of communicating these negative sexual experiences that are more within the gray area. The only thing that people have to cling on to is the consent framework and also these other legal terms. So when they are describing these negative sexual experiences, they will describe them through the lens of consent and these legal terms. And that can sometimes cause some problems. And
I'm gonna need data for this, by the way. I don't like her just making claims. Oh, the only way that women refer to stuff is it's either RAPE or it's not. Well, I don't believe that. I've done too much research on the OGAP to believe that women don't know the language. I feel like women will literally look. I feel like the way my friend telling me a story about how she was telling him right where the CLIT is, and he was everywhere but there. I feel like they have the language and they use the language to describe when they're having fun and when they're not having fun, but people don't listen. So
to allegations. Now, I don't personally think that most of the time this is done maliciously. I do genuinely believe that these women view these experiences in that way. I do think that they honestly believe that that is what's happened to them, because
the research I also disagree with what she just said, because the same research that I'm citing, if I remember correctly, the women were also asked the same questions regarding, has a man ever like held you down and forced you to have sex, or prevent you from leaving the room unless you have sex with him? And the women would answer yes. But when they asked the women, have you ever been RAPE'd, the women would say no too. So I don't even believe what she's saying regarding women believing that they've been RAPE'd. The research seems to indicate that having forceful sex with women is normalized for both men and women. So I don't know what she's citing, but I disagree with it.
This is the only other way they know how to describe it. Often what these women are experiencing is regret over certain decisions they made, or they may be experiencing distress over the fact that they ignored their
and to touch, sorry to keep pausing, but to retouch, because I feel like I didn't give it enough time. I don't like what she said, what was it, 30 seconds ago, regarding not having the language to describe what's happening. I feel like we do have that language, and that language is called consent. And that's the thing that we've been talking about for the whole video. This is like frustrating me. And she thinks that we're overusing this and we need new language or something. And I don't understand that. I feel like, no, that is the language. And I don't feel like maybe she doesn't understand it, or like, I don't understand. Like, it doesn't feel like she understands it. It doesn't feel like the men who were in the video, Piers Morgan on that newscast, understand it. It feels like, in my mind, she wants boys to be able to touch on girls without consent, but we need to call it something different, because she doesn't want to demonize the boys who, you know, according to everyone in the video, they're saying that boys are just young and naive and stupid or something, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know better. They're just kids exploring, and they shouldn't have to ask for permission first. So I don't know what language she's using to describe men who do sexual things to women that the women don't want done to them. I don't know what language she would like to use to describe this, but I think consent is, or a lack of consent, SARAPE, is the language. I think the language that we have works well enough. And I will bring up the study that I just cited again regarding denying RAPE but endorsing forceful intercourse, because I didn't realize this. But basically, the men in that study are saying, I do RAPE women. They will admit to it. Some of them flat out admit to the word. Like they say, I think, I don't want to miscite it. So, and I don't have it in front of me. So I don't want to miscite it. So I'm not going to say the percent, but there were a percent of men who said they openly RAPE women if you ask them directly with the word. But the other men, it seems like they do it and they admit to doing it. Right, kind of like what we see in this video, right? They're saying, my son does it, my teenage boys do it. Why should my teenage boy have to ask to put his hands on the way? I was a teenage boy once and I did it. I was young. It feels like what they feel is that there's nothing wrong with doing it, right? They're all saying this in the video that we're watching, including, I don't know if Patience is saying this, but I feel like she's on that side based on what she's presenting. And how she was presenting and framing her video. But it doesn't feel like they see anything wrong with doing it. It just feels like when we bring up the word consent, or when we bring the word SA or the word RAPE, suddenly they are upset, not at their own behavior or the behavior that they're endorsing, right? But they're upset at you or the blonde lady who we saw in the video, or women, for calling it violating someone's consent. And Patience, right, the woman we're reacting to, is like, it's fine for this to happen. It's just, you know, kids, and women are just regretting it after. But we need to call it something different, because I don't like the language. I don't like calling it consent violation. So their concern isn't what's happening to women. It's not that women's autonomy is being violated. Their concern is they don't like being called a RAP grapists, right, after they grape someone. Do you guys see the issue I'm having here? I can't link you to the study, but I can link you to the abstract. I think you have to pay for access to the study. What I might do is review the study on a different live stream. That way you guys won't have to pay to see it. Because I do think it's important. I put a link to the abstract in there. And there's also a link to buy access to the study if you want to. Nothing wrong with supporting. But the abstract speaks volumes by itself. The full study speaks even more. So if you want to, I wouldn't. If you have the money. If you have the money. But do you guys see the issue I'm having here? Your problem isn't my son is putting his hands on your daughter's waist. Your problem is, why are y'all calling it SA, and why are you trying to get him in trouble? He's just a young boy. Your problem is being called what you're doing, and that's what I have an issue with. That's what I have an issue with. There's also a study called Use of Bogus Pipeline to Detect Men's Underreporting of Sexually Aggressive Behavior, where they detail the fact that men, both in studies and outside of studies, right, are likely to downplay what they do when it comes to being sexually aggressive towards women. So what they're saying on the screen, I personally believe, number one, outside of the fact that there is data to suggest that men underreport sexually aggressive behavior, I personally believe what you say in public is probably what you think is. How do I phrase it? If you're comfortable saying something like that in public, I can only imagine what you're saying or doing in private. If that's your public face, if your public face is, why can't my son touch and feel on your daughter without consent? And why do we keep using this word consent, and we just throwing the word RAPE and SA around just because these men are touching girls without consent? If this is what you're saying in public, like, I can't imagine what's going on in private. Personally, this is me personally. I'm not citing to data or anything when I say personally, me personally, if you're doing something like that in public, I feel like what you're doing in private is worse, because people tend to try to manicure themselves to some degree for the public face. Maybe they're tenured, so they can't lose their job or get sued. I don't know, but I can't imagine. Combine that with the fact that men underreport sexually aggressive behavior, and I feel like it's definitely some shady-ish going down. Good evening, Chat and Petty. This is a serious topic. I'll have to watch the replay. Miscellaneous AB, welcome. You will have to watch the replay. And you missed the jokes, but the jokes were separate, so we're not in joke mode anymore. But we will be after the outro. I'll play more memes because I do feel like this is heavy. So
instincts during these sexual interactions, and when it all goes wrong and they start to experience emotional turmoil over the sexual experience, sometimes the person who gets the brunt of the blame is the person who was in the room with them, the man. The same man who's also been socialized to believe that she's just like him. She's just as up for it as he is. She's just as eager, because women love sex the same way men do. Because after
I don't care how much or how little you think someone loves sex. I don't care if you are talking to a what do they call, lady of the night or streetwalker or whatever they call them these days without using the PROSTITUTE word. I don't know if I spelled that right. I don't know what they call them, but I don't care if you are with a stripper. I don't care if you're with someone who's at church in church clothing. I don't care what type of girl you're with or who you think wants sex or don't want sex. What does that have to do with asking somebody before you put your hands or other objects on them? Blaming the victim. Yikes. So you know what's interesting? Hold up. So Patience, she has another video that we were going to look at another day. She just happened to come out with this video, which is why I'm looking at it. But she has a couple other bops such as Believe All Women versus Conspiracy Theory and We Need to Talk About Victim Blaming, where I haven't watched this, but I'm going to spoil it. I haven't watched Believe All Women. I think I fell asleep and my YouTube played through it. So it does show it as watched, but I haven't watched it yet. We need to talk about victim blaming. This is what I guarantee is going to happen based on other videos that I've seen from patients and based on the one we're looking at today. She's first, let me see the thumbnail. Hold up. That's too small. Preventive protection doesn't exist. Just stop assaulting Black women. Take precautions. Safety advice is victim blaming, ? So this is what I think she would be talking about in that video. She's going to be like, why are y'all mad? We're just trying to help you. We're just telling you not to wear certain things so that you don't get assaulted. And we're just telling you not to be out late at night. And y'all are calling it victim blaming, but we're just giving advice. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to be in that video. So we're going to see when we look at that one. But we're not doing that today. That's just my spoiler. I haven't even watched the video, but I guarantee I just spoiled it. Petty, are you at work right now? No, I'm in my kidnapper's basement. I feel like we've gone over this like 4 times. There is Wi-Fi and a laptop here, so I was like, well, I'm not doing anything else. So I hate what she's saying. I don't like when people play stupid and choose blatant ignorance. Maybe she's not choosing. We don't know. We don't know. I feel like you're choosing it. I don't like when people play in my face. I hate when people play in my face. Nightwalkers.
After all, the sex positive liberal feminists told him that we can have sex just like the boys. It's always fascinating to me how men.
I don't understand the idea of women saying, hey, we also enjoy sex and shouldn't be slut shamed. Okay, so I can like touch and feel on you without your consent. Where did we get lost? I feel like we got lost somewhere on the way to the point and we didn't make it there. The liberal feminists are saying that we enjoy sex like how men enjoy sex. So the men are like, okay. So men, I guess, like grown men putting their hands on them without consent. That's how men enjoy sex. I don't understand. Is that what's happening? Y'all know I'm a big proponent of hugging the homies. I think there's nothing wrong with 2 homies to give each other a bro job, but I do feel like there should be consent, even between homies. And homies are some of the closest people that you have in your life, but even they should ask each other for consent. I do enjoy sex. Yes, what is she talking about? Yeah, I'm confused too.
Men and women can recall the exact same incident in 2 very different ways. Sometimes their perceptions are literally day and night in terms of how different they are.
My name's
perception don't tend to be, well, it doesn't have to be different, right? Because remember the study we just read where both men and women are saying the man is being aggressive. So I feel like perception doesn't have to be different. Maybe she's saying perception as far as how they look at the night after.
Cody. I had a one-night stand with Madison.
My name is Madison. I had a one-night stand with Cody.
We had gone to her room, and then I think I had kissed her a little bit, and we were laying on the bed.
Like the actual initiation of sex was kind of weird.
And I think that she got a little upset, and she said that she didn't want to have sex, and she just wanted to hang out.
I had talked about not being sure that I wanted to continue and him really wanting to, and I don't know, I was so on the fence about it.
I understood the way she felt, and I didn't want to push anything if she didn't want to do it.
And then what happened?
A little later, I may have initiated kissing. She seemed into it. Everything was good.
And then you said, I want.
Maybe he should have asked her
to have sex.
So yeah, so I definitely said that I was going to have sex with him. Like I said that I wanted to. I just was having a lot of nervousness. It was just kind of a weird mix of emotions all at once, and I didn't really have a good idea of how to be a good communicator when it came to like sexual desires.
Did you use protection?
We used protection. I do remember that. I feel like it was something weird, like a cherry flavored condom or something like that.
I don't think that we used protection. He wasn't really wanting to, and that was definitely a factor of like my nervousness as well.
How long did it last?
It had lasted quite a while.
10 minutes.
We had started out in missionary, moved to several different positions.
I do distinctly remember this part about halfway through into the sex. I just started to have this anxiety and panic and kind of weirdness. And in the middle of sex, when I get that way mentally, I start to disassociate. And I don't know that it was all that enjoyable for either of us.
I actually don't.
How nice would it be? I know Patience and the people on the news show made fun of this, but how nice would it be if you communicated with your partner during sex so that you can make sure your partner is enjoying this? I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid.
I don't remember a lot of when we were having sex. I remember that it was good.
I guess this is one of the consequences.
Men and women remember sex differently. He didn't want to use a condom. That made me really nervous. I didn't really want to have sex. I was scared. Part of it was because he didn't use a condom, and he's over there like, I think we used a condom or something, and I remember it being good. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Of casual sex and promiscuity. I feel like we talk a lot about the consequences or the risks of female promiscuity.
And she said she disassociated during the sex. And he was just like, I don't know, it was probably good. That's wild.
But we don't really talk too much about the potential risks of male promiscuity. And I would definitely say that this is one of the risks of male promiscuity. You could think that you're both having a great time, and then the next thing you know, you're catching a case. The reality is, within casual sex, often...
Let me ask you guys. Oh, wait, I forgot I had a poll up. I just wanted to ask you guys personally. Wait, hold up. Okay, it's 43 votes. I have a question now because not all of the votes say no. The poll that I asked you guys was, is asking for permission too much for boys to do? 93% of you said no. Asking for permission, specifically we were talking about to touch a woman's waist or do something suggestive like that. 93% of you said no. 7% of you said yes. I need to understand the yes. What I'm hoping you're saying is that this is too much for men. What I'm hoping is that this is like a slight or an insult or something, and that you're not like, oh no, boys can't do that. That's too much. I need y'all to explain the yes. I'm going to end that poll. Y'all done made me forget what I was reacting to. What was I finna ask y'all? Hold up.
Times because you don't really...
Oh, yeah. The question I was gonna ask is, how do you think we can avoid two people sleeping together and one of them thinking everything went perfect and the other one thinking that this was the most terrible thing that ever happened to me and feeling like they need to seek legal recourse? What do you guys think is a solution to something like that happening? Do you guys feel like Piers Morgan's advice and we need to let boys be boys and learn and make mistakes without like persecuting them and stuff? Do you think that will help? Do you guys think what Patience is saying is right and that it's like stupid to ask your partner like for permission to do stuff while you're having sex and that's just dumb? Or are you guys with me where I'm like, maybe you should communicate with the person that you're talking to and make sure they like what's being done with them and ask them for permission before you do something to them? Is that really like, does that really turn people off for someone to be like, can I kiss you? I feel like if you have a crush on someone and let's say y'all are just hetero women, right, the 99%, and a man who y'all are just so attracted to and crushing on so hard comes up to you and y'all go on a date and watch the movie and he turns over and he's like, can I kiss you? Are y'all like, oh my God, that's so unattractive. Why didn't you just lean in and take it without asking? I feel like regardless of if he asks or not, if you find the person attractive, you're going to be still attracted to them if they ask. Does that make sense? I don't feel like it's going to dry anybody up. Do you potentially lose 0.5 seconds? Yeah, you do. But look at what did the woman say in the video? maybe you should pause, and maybe the pause is less inconvenient than potentially ruining someone's life because you thought everything was okay. This woman in the video we just watched on Cut or whatever she just showed, talking about, I was disassociating during sex. I didn't want to have sex. I felt pressured. He was talking about he don't want to use a condom, which also made me even more anxious. And he talked about, I was having a good time. I leaned in and kissed her. He didn't talk about it. I asked, do you want to do this? Are you ready? Are you sure? Do you want to wait another day? Should we not do? I didn't hear anything like that. Maybe I misheard what she just showed, but like, I feel like there's a very easy way to prevent this from happening. A very easy way, and it has to do with one party, specifically the party that tends to be on the offending end, asking the person who they want to put their thing inside or touch on or feel on or kiss, just asking before doing that stuff. If it just feels so simple to me. Okay, now y'all not gonna be in my comments talking about y'all turn-ons. That's not what this stream is for. Oh my God, buy some lubricant. Y'all not about to do that. Not in this lighting. I'm not about to have these conversations with y'all in the dark.
You know the person very well. You don't know what they like. You don't know what they're comfortable with or what they do and don't want to do. And because when people are less familiar with each other, they also feel less comfortable to express themselves or to communicate.
I've also heard about girls explicitly saying no or I don't want to do this, and the men just continue anyway. So.
Or to even talk about sex before they have it, which makes it more likely that things like this can happen. Because where there's a lack of communication, it's a lot easier for things to go wrong. I do think at some point liberal feminists will have to confront the fact that some of the things they preach has actually contributed to some of the problems they complain about. Considering feminists are supposed to be looking out for
the thing is, I don't feel like she cited anything that feminists have preached, and if she has, I feel like she's made like really gross straw man. Wasn't her initial synopsis of liberal feminism like, oh, the liberal feminists were like, we want to have sex, but they didn't know that the men were going to use them, and then they regretted it because they were too dumb to know that, and now they're reaping what they sow. Like, I feel like her take on what feminists have been arguing or fighting for is like really, really, what's the word? Grossly inaccurate. The leaps. Yeah, I feel like these are big leaps. We're talking about men who sat around the table talking about why they should be able to put their hands on your daughter's waist without asking for permission. And you're like, this is feminism's fault because feminism made men believe that they want to be touched without consent. Which part of feminism made you believe that? I need to know which part specifically.
Interest of women. I'm not entirely convinced that the sexual revolution made women's lives easier or better. The sexual revolution encouraged women to imitate male sexuality, which really mainly benefited the Hugh Hefners of the world. The sex positive movement led to a more sexualized society, which created an environment.
I also need citations for all of this. I'm taking this with a block of salt until I hear any citation because it's not making sense to me.
Where sex is often expected very quickly, which puts pressure on women to sleep with men much sooner than they'd like to in order to prevent them losing interest and moving on to someone else. But doing things you're not ready for increases the chances of you having a negative experience or potentially regretting it. Also, the expectation of sex has made some men a lot more forward because they assume that women are on the same page as them, which also adds to women feeling pressure to do things they're either not ready for or will potentially regret because they didn't actually want to do them. We also really need to talk about the flaws of the consent framework. Just because someone consents to something doesn't necessarily mean it's good. What if someone has a cannibalism fetish and consents to being killed and eaten? Should they be allowed to
legalize cannibalism? I disagree with everything she said. No, I'm just playing.
Do it, and should that be okay just because they consented to it? And yes, that is a real story, by the way.
I don't even understand. I feel like we're really far ahead. We need to go back to consent. We don't need to go to is everything you consent to good. We need to go back to consent because I don't feel like we even know what that is yet, based on what I'm seeing. I feel like we're too far ahead.
Actually happened.
Armin Mivas is a cannibal. In March 2001, he killed a man and ate him, along with a glass of fine red wine. A crime so bizarre it horrified and mystified the world. You see, Mivas's victim was a willing accomplice. He actually wanted to be eaten. A rare case of what they call love cannibalism.
The answer is yes. There are some.
See what feminism has done? This man ate another human being because liberal feminists want you to believe that consent is all that's important. I don't understand the argument. I don't. Like, I got lost. I did kind of stop listening because I'm like, y'all, it's like 9:42. I'm we should do this like an hour earlier. But it's fine. Let's get through it. We're almost done.
Some sex positive feminists who do truly believe that consent is all that matters. And they even go as far as to say that people should be able to do.
Again, strongly disagree with the idea that feminism, liberal feminism, whatever specific type of feminism she's talking about, I strongly disagree with the idea that feminists are saying the only thing that matters is consent. And this is causing women to have sex that they don't enjoy or regret it or be assaulted, because feminism doesn't teach women about like the importance of enjoyable sex or enjoyable partners or caring part. Yeah, we know feminism doesn't talk about that. They just talk about make sure you say yes, and then everything else, I don't know. I'm just a feminist, so what do I know? Like, I strongly disagree with her take on feminism. I need to know what feminism she's citing, what feminist she's citing, where she read that in feminist literature or feminist theory. I need to know what she's citing, because I haven't heard a citation for this whole video.
Unethical sexual acts as long as the person consents to it. In fact, here is one arguing that it's actually sex negativity that leads to sexual violence.
If we actually grappled with the fact that sex negativity is what causes this type of behavior, then we could create a world where in a idyllically sex positive world, someone is able to pay conscious women to come and be drugged so that I can get my kink out, my fetish on having sex with
I am confused. Wait, hold up. Let me back this up a little bit. I need to understand this.
Conscious type of behavior.
Person consents to it. In fact, here is one arguing that it's actually sex negativity that leads to sexual violence.
If we actually grappled with the fact that sex negativity is what causes this type of behavior, then we could create a world where in a idyllically sex positive world, someone is able to pay conscious women to come and be drugged so that I can get my kink out, my fetish on having sex with unconscious people. There's a consensual way to do that.
If we've seen women experience.
How do you guys feel about people paying for a person to take, it's taken out of context? Should we go and watch the entire video? We're not going to tonight, but I think I would watch that entire video before making judgment, because I don't think it would be above her to take something out of content. But how do y'all feel about feminism forcing people to be unconscious? I don't know. I don't know what feminism did to cause this. But Patience is going to explain it to us. That was from a documentary series about Bill Cosby. But you know, Bill Cosby, we can't blame Bill Cosby for his actions. We need to blame feminism. What we don't realize is that feminism actually forced Bill Cosby to I actually don't know. I don't know what the goal is. I will rewatch this part because I'm actually like confused. I don't know the connection. I feel like I've gotten lost at some point. Hello, Production Inquiry. Today we're talking about how feminism and the sex revolution, feminists thought it was that they were smart, but they were actually dumb. They never would have thought of how the sexual revolution would negatively impact women. And the feminism doesn't teach women things such as pleasure during sex. All feminism teaches is that as long as the woman says yes, everything is okay. Based on Patience's interpretation of feminist and feminism.
A lot of distress over regretting even vanilla sexual experiences. Can you imagine the level of psychological distress that could come from regretting to consenting to an experience like that? We don't need to imagine it because we've already seen it. We've seen ex-adult actresses express the after effects of agreeing to doing degrading things within the industry and how it negatively impacted them after. So can consent alone really be all?
Whenever I'm looking at adult actresses, the first thing I think about is, let me see if I can find this documentary. Specifically, not something like OnlyFans, but specifically professional content, professional adult content, and how they tend to be recruited, usually when they're underage by grown men who are like aggressively trying to get them in the industry. So I've never, when I'm looking at a sex worker or something like that, I'm never looking at them. I feel like I always go above their head.
We need to imagine it because we've got distress that could come from regretting to consenting to an experience like that. We don't need to imagine it because we've already seen it. We've seen ex-adult actresses express the after effects of agreeing to doing degrading things within the industry and how it negatively impacted them after. So can consent alone really be all that matters for sexual morality? Just because someone consents to something, does that make it okay? My personal opinion is that the consent framework is insufficient because consent alone is not.
The consent framework. What is the consent framework, patients? She can't hear me. This is a video. My bad. I was waiting for an answer too. What is the consent framework? That's what I need to understand, because Patience is saying that feminism is just teaching people consent, and feminism has never said anything about the adult industry being predatory and young girls, even though they're consenting, being preyed on by grown men. Feminism has never talked about that, according to Patience. Petty, are you at work? Okay, so this is like the 5th or 6th time I've said this. I have been kidnapped. I'm in the basement. There is Wi-Fi and a laptop here, so I'm streaming. Why do y'all? So wait, let me ask. Do y'all think I would be bold enough to stream at work? Y'all don't remember what I do for work. That's what that is, because we just had the Q&A where I was 100% honest, and I told y'all what I do for work. And after telling y'all what I do for work, look at my background and tell me if this looks like my work location. So actually, what I'm going to do as this video is wrapping up, I'm going to open the panel. Because I'm sure some of you might have some stuff that you want to say. I know this has been a long one. It's not very long because we're only 2 hours in, and I know y'all are used to those 10-hour Themis and Thoth streams. But it just feels long. It just feels long. Them cabinets are cabineting. What do y'all think? What do y'all think I do for work? Can one of y'all say in the comments? I'm just curious. The maintenance break room. Do y'all think I work in maintenance? Be honest. What did they say? What is a medical janitor? What's a better way to say that? Working. They said I can't say working in the medical field because that's dishonest. We're talking about on dates. So what was it? It was like medical facilities maintenance. They were like, this is how you should say your job. A janitor 2. You've had so many different jobs. I don't know what's real anymore. You clean rugs. I think you work in healthcare. Girl, where are you? Oh, Themis came at the wrong time. He missed the never mind. He can go back and find it. He don't need to know that we talk about him over here. Your Ask Me Anything streams are 40 minutes of you. It wasn't a lie. I'm about to make it members only because y'all don't appreciate me. Custodial engineer. Do I need help? I need help. I need a super chat. I need a Cash App. I need a people to join the membership. I need any help that I can get. Let me find my this is my Cash App scrolling across the bottom. Someone sent me a Cash App today. That was nice. Sonia sent a Cash App, and she said it was for so I have all the coins. That's what she said. Hello, cultural misfit. Are you here to watch the remaining 1 minute with me?
Yes.
Don't give black men money. Anyway, let me take this Cash App off of here. Sorry. I feel like having the Cash App, I feel like I've never put it up because it feels like I'm holding my hands out and begging.
Yeah, it gives that.
Ah, you wasn't supposed to agree with that. You're supposed to be like, no, you need to be compensated for your work. But it's fine. Welcome, LB. So, Cultural, did you have something to say, or did y'all want to go through the last 1 minute of this video first?
Let's watch the last 1 minute. Or LB, what did you want to say something?
No, I'm here for the last 1 minute.
All right, let's do it.
Enough to encourage good sexual behavior or to encourage good sexual morality. People also need the words to describe their negative sexual experiences that land within the grey area. Because as we've seen, the removal of the words that we used to have has now meant that a lot of grey area cases.
What are the words we used to have? And what is the consent framework, patience? I'm waiting on that answer. I need to know what the words we used to have are.
Are getting lumped in with much more serious sex crimes. But those are just my thoughts. Do let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think the consent framework is enough on its own to help ensure?
What is the consent framework, patience? I'm not about to let you keep using this word and don't nobody know what it is.
Good sexual morality, or do we maybe need to bring back at least some of the old sexual norms and old sexual cultural expectations that we used to have? Maybe we could bring back some of the really outdated stuff, like knowing someone's name before you sleep with them. All of that archaic stuff. But that is all for this video. Do let me know in the
Oh no, it's so much
comments
going
what
on.
your opinion on this is. I'd be very curious to hear them. If you've enjoyed this video, you may as well like and subscribe. I am also
Nope. All right. What say us? She wants our opinion, our thoughts and opinions on the video. Welcome to the membership, darling Nikki. Dab. Every new member does get a dab. I'm still doing that. Please do not become a member and then get a refund and then become a member again, like some of y'all were doing to get 5, 6, 7 dabs. Because I caught y'all. Petty only crushes on Black Brit female content creators with bad haircut and bad political takes. Candace Owen type people. Yes. Look at the comments. Where are the comments? Oh, the comments on the video. Well, I will since you sent a super chat. Cultural Misfit, you were here first as I go to the comment section.
Yeah, I wanted to know what the framework was too, because she never actually said what the consent framework is. I don't like when people play in my face. Don't I think that everyone wants to be like a scholar now, which I don't think is a bad thing. But don't play in our faces because there were 0 points made. I don't know what's so confusing about consent. Like, what's so confusing about being like, hey, can I kiss you? Hey, can I touch your hand? There's nothing confusing about that. And then she made a lot of points that women don't like sex the way men do. Then she started talking about cannibalism. It really went off the rails. The comments were off the rails too. Nothing made sense, and I feel that we were played with.
You feel like she was playing in our face?
Yeah, I feel like she needs to find a toy in Target.
Not in Target. I don't think they sell those in Target.
They do.
We might be thinking about okay.
They do.
But anywho, so what you're saying is you think that this woman was playing in our face, and you don't think that she was.
I don't think she believes a word she said. No, I don't. I don't think she does.
You don't think there's a consent framework that we're working from?
No, not according to what we just watched, because she didn't say what the framework was.
She didn't say what a lot of things were, but she did talk about them. So, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm confused. It's just good for me that I feel like we're all confused together. So that makes me happy because I thought it was my comprehension wasn't good. So it just feels good to be affirmed. Thank you. LB.
Okay. While I agree with a lot of what the other person said, I do think that she means what she says, and I think she's just really ignorant on the topic. I think that, like, okay, a couple things. My mom always told me, like, if you're not ready to you're not ready to do something if you're not ready to talk about it. And that was her sex talk for me, the short version. And I think that that's really accurate. I think that like women that take up the stance that she does, like I put it in the comments too, but I think they tend to have like this either they're not in a place where they're comfortable talking about sex, so they really can't even fathom telling somebody what they like or what they don't like, or feeling empowered to say, hey, stop, or like, hey, I need a break, or like, this isn't working for me. And then also I think that like from a young age, we're indoctrinated with like toxic ideas of how men and women should relate sexually. And we think that like it's an insult or like like some sort of like foul move to just say no, or to say stop, or to say, hey, like I need a second, or to say, I thought I wanted to do this, but I'm not feeling it now. Like those type of things are an attack on the male ego based off of like how like we're socialized. And I think that like women like her, they are so like indoctrinated, and they haven't had their own experiences, and they haven't had somebody in their life to tell them it's okay to express what you like and don't like. I think that she does believe that women don't enjoy sex the way that men enjoy sex, because she hears men ranting and raving about sex. And from her personal experience, and clearly the women in her life that have talked to her about sex, she's getting this idea that sex isn't that great. Sex is this thing that we just put up with. Sex is this thing where if we start, we have to finish, even if we don't like it. Sex is this thing where we do it, and we can't really talk about it because it's not polite or ladylike to talk about it. Like, I think that she genuinely believes that and probably hasn't had good sex. And that's not like to shame her. It's a sad thing. It's a concerning thing. Um, and it honestly just makes me kind of sad for her, even though like I'm annoyed with her because she's promoting this stuff on a large platform that impacts multiple women and young girls. But I also feel bad for her because I feel like she just doesn't know. But I'm really tired of people talking from a place of ignorance, like they're some sort of expert on this subject. And sex is one of those subjects, like nobody can ever be an expert, but we can know the basics, like communication, consent, boundaries. These are all things that we need to be part of a healthy sexual relationship. I am going to leave it at that because I could rant forever, and I'll probably get repetitive if I haven't already.
So you know what's interesting? I have been added to a women's group chat. My friend, who is a woman, she added me to a group chat with more of her friends who are women. And I have like a peek in to the women's group chat. And in this group chat, there's this woman. She's like 33. And she's a really, I have no idea how she ended up with us degenerates. But she is 33. She is like a born again Christian. She is hardcore Christian, like really hardcore. What is it called? Bible thumping or something like that. She was married when she was like 18. She's been with the same man forever. Now, what I didn't know goes on in the group chat is there's a lot of talk about sex and dick and other things. And these women are talking like really vulgar one day. And somehow in this conversation, they find out that she has never had an orgasm during sex. And she was confused because she didn't understand what they were talking about. And they had to explain it to her. And it's revealed like the concept of sex being like just an enjoyable and pleasurable thing. This woman is 33 and has been married to the same man since she was 18. They're very Christian. The idea of sex being orgasmic or just a pleasurable thing is like a foreign concept that she's never experienced before. Her idea around sex is like, I procreate, and that's what that's for. That's why we have sex. Why we have sex if we're not doing that? No, not y'all in the comments, poor lady. Yes, poor lady. Actually, so the idea that conservative people like have weird ideas around sex and around women having pleasure or lack of pleasure during sex is not something that I'm going to dismiss. I actually think I agree with you there, but I don't think that Patience in particular doesn't know. I don't know who can look at me in my eyes, because she's looking in our eyes. She's looking right at the camera and say, we need to go back to the old days when we had better attitudes about sex. I don't understand who can say that to what time period. Because I need to know, do certain people of certain color have rights? Do certain people with certain gender have rights? Is it legal to rape your spouse if you're a man? I need to understand what time period she's talking about where we have better attitudes around sex, and things were better and we need to go back. That's what I need to understand. I don't feel like you can say that sentence and mean it. I really don't feel like it's ignorance. I feel like I'm being played with. That's why we've been saying over and over again, I don't like when people play in my face. That's what I feel like is going on. But
I
I
don't
don't
think
disagree with
that
you.
part specifically is ignorance. I feel like the reason she's so comfortable taking on this stance is because she's coming from a place of ignorance and wanting to appeal to a certain gaze.
I
But
do think. Oh yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I do agree with LB that she is coming from a place of ignorance. When I think about her points, her grandiose points about communication norms for consent and sex, right? So like we were in the comments, like I forgot what someone said. Will you allow me to maneuver and commence to do X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z? She used these huge examples, and it's like, okay, maybe you are ignorant to some of this because most people aren't using that type of language to say just, hey, can I kiss you? Or hey, do you like that? Or X, Y, and Z. Check the comments for more reference. However, I don't know. I just have a feeling that she's doing this for. I don't. I think that she knows that there's probably some things that she's missing out on within her. Let that lady get her conservative white man. Hey, it seems like a money grab, and if it is, whatever. But it's just not. It doesn't seem responsible. It's annoying to kind of send that message. So I do get what you're saying, LB. Like, I do think that she's ignorant because why would you use such large examples for communication for consent? It doesn't have to be that weird. Communication should be normal with sex, but maybe she's never experienced communication with sex. So to her, that seems like a really, really radical idea. But I also don't fully believe her because she didn't really provide an alternative solution to what the framework should be. So if the framework for consent is bad because of feminism or feminist movement, what's the alternative? How should we be approaching sex? I don't really think she even stated that. So I don't know. I think people are doing things for clicks and likes.
You don't feel like she stated it through what she was showing? She shows the people around the newscast in there. She seems to be painting the blonde lady in a negative light in the way that it feels like she framed her video. Remember, the blonde lady is like, everyone around the table is like, boys are scared to even touch or feel on girls these days. It's so scary being a teenage boy. What is my teenage son supposed to do? And the blonde lady is like, they should be scared. They should, like, what's wrong with them being scared to touch someone? I think it's better for them to be scared and to not touch someone than to like ruin someone's life because they have the wrong impression. It feels like Patience is viewing the lady who's like they should be scared as in my mind, radical or crazy feminist or something. So it feels like she's on the side of men in this conversation, and men in this conversation are like touchy and feeling, and it's just like they're just learning or something. I don't know. They just watched adult movies, and that's why they got the wrong idea or something. I forgot what Patience said, but it feels like the alternative that she's talking about is like somehow, oh whoops, my bad. I went to Thema said something and I went to her community tab because she got married I think either this year or last year, and I just wanted to pull up the picture, but I can't find it, so ignore that. But I feel like she's made a very clear statement, even though she hasn't said it overtly, about what she thinks consent should be like. And it doesn't sound like it's gonna benefit women. So that's what I'll say. Bullet Magnet, you've been here waiting. Hello, how are you?
Hey, how are you? So,
What?
can you hear me?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, perfect. So I think when she talked about the framework of consent, I think she fails to realize the purpose of framework, because I'm in cybersecurity. So our frameworks for what we need to do is always being updated, always being researched, and always being changed. Framework is supposed to be the bones of a house, basically, like the foundation of a house, and you build from there. So yes, the basic yes and no is the bones. Now you have to get into the nitty gritty and the nuances. I don't think she had enough sexual experience or had good sexual partners. No, don't do that. But good sexual partners in order to that is good with the communication. I gave examples on how to check in during sex. I gave examples on I can give examples on how to start it off too. It's not hard. Those grandiose ideas, it's not happening. That's not reality. So she's basing everything off of some la la land world that she thinks we're in, and that's silly. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Thank you for explaining the consent framework to me, which I guess is the foundation of sex being yes or no. So thank you. I wish Patience could have done that at some point during her video, what you just did in 30 seconds, but you know, beggars can't be choosers or something like that. But thank you.
Can
LB.
oh,
Mhm.
dang, wow. Okay. You like knew I was about to like just interrupt time.
I see y'all unmuting. I know y'all want to
Oh,
talk.
okay. So, I just wanted to say that, like, adding to what Bullet Magnet is a magnet, yeah. You know, I can't read. But Bullet Magnet just said, I think that like she had a really good point, because I just thought, like, while she was saying that, I was thinking, I was like, dang, she didn't even make like a basic like argument about it. Like, because the most basic argument I could think that they would use is like, oh well, consent shouldn't just be explicit, it could be implicit, which is like a bad argument, but also she didn't even go there. So yeah, there was really no effort to prove her point, expand on it, or
So
even entertain
if I'm being as good
opposition.
faith as I can be, sorry to interrupt, but if I'm being as good faith as I can be, her argument is that feminism has taught women that sex, I guess the most important thing is that you say yes and that you have consent. She didn't say enthusiastic consent, but just consent, and that anything that happens after that is fine. And feminism doesn't talk about like pleasurable sex, and it doesn't talk about coercion or the idea that men might do X, Y, or Z to you or try to you. Like feminism only talks about consent. And so that's what's causing the divide between men and women or something, or the false RAPE allegation, or everybody calling everything SA these days, because feminism doesn't teach women anything but consent. But that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what feminism she's talking about, because I feel like feminism explicitly talks about those things. So
Yeah, I was
that
like, isn't consent like kind of the umbrella term, and then everything else kind of falls under as forms of consent or lack of consent? Yeah. I think
yes.
sorry. I was about to say, I think a feminist actually told me that a plain yes shouldn't really be taken, should be taken with a grain of salt, but an enthusiastic yes, like how they say it, or how quick they say it, or how often they say it, is almost the perfect.
Not how often they say it.
Hey, that just means you're doing what you're doing, right? So how yes,
I
is
think
the
consent
perfect.
should be also like consent is continuous. I
Mm-hmm.
think we forget that as well. So it's not just yes and then consent disappears. It should be continual. So those constant check-ins, just like this is getting kind of weird now, but like, you know, like it should be a continual thing. Yeah, I can't get over. Yeah, I don't know. Like it should be continual. You should constantly be communicating. You should not be woke. You should be waking constantly. You should be always consenting or asking for consent. I don't know.
And it's not hard. People just aren't creative. They need to read more books, preferably the books I read. But that's neither here nor there. I think. Also, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to ask the I was sorry, there's something on my screen I can't talk about right now and it's making me laugh even though this is a really serious conversation. But I was going to say that anybody who's talking about the way she's talking about how stupid it is, well, she didn't say it's stupid, but she makes fun of the idea that you ask your partner for consent throughout sex. And that makes me feel like she's not a man, but I feel like she would stealth somebody. If y'all don't know what stealthing is, it's when a man takes his condom off during sex. I feel like that's what it's giving if you're making fun of the idea of asking for consent to do things continually. I feel like you're the type of person who would do that. And you wouldn't tell nobody because why should you have to ask your partner? You already got a yes to sex, so why does it matter what I do during? Sorry, you can go ahead, LB.
I kind of lost my thoughts. That probably wasn't really that important.
Oh, anyone else? Final thoughts? Going once?
I think she needs Jesus, or at least experience. Is the yes loud or quiet? Both. If you can get
Ignore
both.
that. I'm not supposed to put them on screen. I
Nope.
realized I didn't say welcome Themis. Apparently I feel like that's considered rude. So welcome
Yeah, you're
Themis.
rude, Prince.petti.
I feel like I shouldn't play favorites. If I play favorites, it should be with my new member, darling Nikki. That's who I should play favorites with, my members. I don't see a membership icon beside Themis's name. That's what I don't see. I see a membership beside the other MJ.
Oh my God.
Besides
Listen,
so
man, have y'all
golden.
been down the Target? I was in Target the other day.
Oh my God.
Okay, this video
Target's
isn't getting
awesome.
monetized, but they sell things in Target.
Yes, I went to Target yesterday.
They do.
I'm about to I need to see what are y'all talking about because I don't know what Target y'all are going to. I feel like maybe Walmart. Because Walmart is what it is. But all right. Well, Themis don't want my
Nobody
welcome,
wants
so
your
I'll
welcome.
rescind it. I'll take it back. One thing I'm gonna do if somebody don't want something is I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna take it back. Because my ex show did say this mini fridge suck. It don't even have a separation between the freezer and the fridge. I was like, cool, I could take it back.
Oh, Petty,
I
you
can
did
take it
say
back.
you had asked the question earlier, like in the stream, in the chat, and I can't remember specifically, but you said, like, what is the solution to, I guess, finding the problem or the question to what consent is, or how do we solve? Oh, like this idea of perception of what consent is. Like, how do we solve this? What is the solution to that? I think the solution is to stop infantilizing men. Because if consent is solely based off of people's perception, specifically men's perception, then we have a serious issue here, because there's a history of men being able to essentially opt out. And with the example that you gave of the video, the girl's talking about her experience with the one night stand, and the guy is like, "Oh yeah, we used a condom," and the girl says, "No, we literally didn't." So this whole thing with like perception is just like, it's BS. Like, men need to stop lying, and we need to normalize not infantilizing them. Like, grow up and be accountable for your own understanding of what consent is. Like, there should be no in between. That conversation really threw me off. That video where he was like, "Oh, we used a cherry flavored condom," and she was like, "We didn't use one." So you either used one or you didn't. Like, yeah.
The way she was like, I was disassociating. I wasn't even there. I wasn't present. I didn't want to. I was scared to have sex. It felt like he was pressuring me. And he was like, I think she didn't want to, but she came around when I leaned in and kissed her. And I think it was good, probably. I was like, okay, cool. Cool. Well, not cool, but got it. I'm listening. I'm listening to what people are saying.
Sorry. I think the solution is starting for consent, at least wise, is they need to know at toddler age. Because even when kids get to elementary school and middle school, you can see the social influences of obviously of society on them already at that time. So when they're young in age, you have to teach them that.
But LB said that when we were in preschool, we were talking, the teacher was like, don't touch others, don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you, and keep your hands to yourself. This is just an anecdote, but don't we learn that in preschool?
No, they get it. They get it, and they especially get it when women who they don't like or they're not attracted to touch them or even look at them. They don't like it. So how do you understand it then, but you don't understand it later? Like, don't play. I don't like when people play.
Yeah, no, like we literally do that. I've taught K through like adult school. Every grade, we teach them to keep their hands to themselves on different levels. Really basic prime concept. And it, like, I don't think people realize this, but like somewhere between like pre-K and second grade, it's common for kids to like start like touching or kissing each other, and you have to like teach them what's not appropriate and what is appropriate. Like, so like you might be in kindergarten and kids kissing, say like, hey, we don't kiss everybody on the mouth, or like you're not supposed to kiss people without asking, that type of thing. Because like little babies will kiss each other, and you have to be like, no, like that's not how that works. Like, we learn these things young.
I had my first kiss when I was 27. I didn't even know y'all. I didn't know y'all had it like that.
No, like,
I didn't know that's what was going on.
So no, because like some babies, they like kiss their mom on the mouth, and then when they go to like pre-K or they'll go to like daycare or something, they'll kiss other babies on the mouth to show affection, and they don't realize it's wrong. But like quickly, the person who's in charge of those children should be stepping in and saying, hey, no, we don't do that. And then like if they're old enough to express like, oh, I just like this person, you teach them how to communicate and not just go around kissing people and touching people. Like my little cousin, she really liked touching boobs when she was little. She'd go around and touch people, grab people's boobs and talk about boobies and giggle, right? We had to teach her that that's not appropriate and that's not okay. We didn't just let her keep walking around and touching people's titties.
So your solution is we need to teach boys young about consent.
I think we need to teach people young about consent all through life at appropriate levels. Like, my mom has been talking to me about sex since I have been old enough to talk to her, but she does it in appropriate, like on a level that's appropriate for my developmental stage. That's how she did it as I was growing up. I don't think that it's ever like you're not going to start with like sex with kids, but you're going to start with like, this is good touch, this is bad touch, this is We ask people if they're okay with things. Like, we keep our hands to ourselves unless we don't touch other people's stuff unless they say it's okay, that type of thing.
Again, I feel like maybe I do agree that it's probably not taught to boys in the way that it's taught to girls. I feel like girls are probably taught, if someone's touching you or doing something to you, you should tell someone. And I don't know that that's taught to boys, just in my personal experience. So grain of salt. I do note when we looked at Bourbon Bougie at the beginning of this live stream, and she's like the 14-year-old girl who the grown man is talking to, and the 14-year-old girl exposed him. And Bourbon Bougie is like, we need to start teaching our daughters that if a man is talking to you, if grown men doing this to you while you're 14, expose them, or what's it called? Put them on blast, or report them, or go to the authorities, or your parents. Like, I do think it's doable. I do already see girls doing it. I don't know what boys need to do it. I don't know how to solve this when the adult male figures that we watch on the newscast are like, at 14, and my son is 14 and he just wants to grab girls without asking. What's wrong with that? Meanwhile, we begin this video with a 14-year-old girl who's being accosted by a grown man, and she has like the wit to report him and to put him on blast, and like the whole community get involved now because they know what he's doing. So I don't know how to get grown men to not infantilize boys, because it doesn't make sense to me that, like what I said about my friends all having a story about being 11 and grown men hitting on them and knowing that that's wrong. I don't understand why young girls know that it's wrong and are able to, but young boys are treated like boys being boys. I do know a little bit because I always socialize boys and girls differently, but I don't know how to solve something like that.
I think we solve it by holding men accountable.
Yeah. Agreed. But it feels like, well, do you think what we watched is just like, do you think it's whining? Because I feel like we're very explicitly, I'm thinking again back to the newscast, holding the men accountable, right? Let me see if I can rewind to that part actually, because I think that's important. Let's quickly rewatch that.
Oh, in your house, you're teaching them the difference between assault.
Gate this.
Because he
rescinded consent and he was lumped in and he had his
No, I'm
career
with you on that one.
cancelled.
I'm with
So then
you.
why should men be afraid of that?
Because he didn't touch her without consent, did he?
No, but she
But
rescinded his consent and
how are
she
young
saw
boys
that
supposed to
then as
navigate
something.
this, the whole
Yeah, I
thing?
agree.
I'm thinking
You
of
need
my
to have-
teenage son. He's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind if I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand- and then
extremely
come
strong
on,
woman. I
come
know
on.
in your house.
Okay, so she begins with this example. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is like the catalyst for an entire conversation about why asking a young boy asking to put his hands around a girl's waist is like too far, and the consent conversation has gone too far, because my son is just 14 and just wants to touch girls, and he's scared to do that because he might get some, I guess, legal action or shamed or something. And the men around the table, as well as the one lady, is like, this has gone too far, and why should boys have to go through this? Do you think something like this is just conversation? Like, do you think they're going to be punished, but this conversation will continue to happen? Or
What do you mean? Who's going to be punished?
So LB says we need to hold the men accountable. I feel like when we hold the men accountable, right, i.e. we say your boys should be scared to touch someone without consent, which the blonde lady in the middle says. They should be scared, and it's good that they scared that they're scared, and it's better that they be scared to touch someone without their consent, as opposed to just touching someone and ruining somebody's life because they didn't know that somebody didn't want to be touched. And everyone around the table seemed to be revolting against her. So do we feel like, I feel like when we hold men accountable, or at least try to, there's like a very strong pushback. I don't know if, is this just talking, but the legal system is actually doing what it needs to, and we are changing the culture around consent, and this is just one newscast, or is this what's going on generally? Because I feel like this is what's going on generally.
Well, when I said hold men accountable, I wasn't talking about like people holding teenage boys accountable, although I think all people of all ages should be accountable for their actions and deal with consequences in a form that's appropriate to their developmental stage. But also, like, what I mean is hold men accountable, like the men that are, like, men are serving as examples for how boys should want to be when they grow up. And the men that the boys are seeing are assaulting women. The men that the boys are seeing are raping women. I said grape. I tried. Like, we're letting that stuff happen, and then there's women who are being assaulted or that are witnessing others be assaulted that are still co-signing with the men despite this. So I think one, like, the men need to be held accountable, but also like the people who support them need to be held accountable. And honestly, anybody being inappropriate with a child needs to be, like, society, our society as a whole needs to hold them accountable. And by that I mean, like, when someone's assaulting someone, let them have the consequences. Like, being very serious about whatever the consequences are, not giving the benefit of the doubt um to the person committing the action over the person who's being victimized in the situation. um like, if we don't change how we're treating adults, we're telling kids that it's okay to be that way. And like, when they see adults in movies and stuff, they see stuff like where, like, maybe there's a sex scene in a movie, like the kids aren't supposed to be watching it, but they're watching it. Like, there's a sex scene in the movie, and maybe the girl is like underneath the guy, and the guy, like, is holding her down, and she, like, pushes back a little bit, and then he pushes back a little bit harder. That's considered to be like passionate lovemaking, when in reality that might be like a violation of consent, or putting someone in a situation that they're not comfortable getting out of. So now they're going to go press up on a girl thinking like, oh, I'm being sexy. Ooh, I'm being attractive. I'm the big man, like the men that I've seen that I idolize, when in reality, they're just harassing a girl, assaulting a girl, coercing a girl based off of like something that they consider to be a norm. So we have to reset the societal norms, and we do that by sticking to the definition and holding people accountable, whether that's legal action, losing social status or support, whatever the consequence is going to be. But we don't really do that. It's so bad that, like, when women get assaulted, we don't report it most of the time, because we know we're going to get attacked for reporting. Like, they're not, like, we know that there's going to be people like that blonde lady that gives them benefit of the doubt. And that blonde lady might be your cousin, it might be your sister, it might be your auntie, your teacher, whatever. I'm gonna stop.
What you just said made me realize they're both blind. I didn't even realize that before, because I saw a demon on the left and then the blonde lady in the middle. So, but I don't disagree with you on the idea of changing conversation around this. As far as doing what I think the blonde lady in the middle was doing during this conversation, I think would be a good example of something you're explaining, at least in the social sense. In conversation, we should be referring to what's happening as what's happening, and we shouldn't be pulling our punches. In this example, they were talking about teenage boys. We shouldn't be pulling our punches when we're discussing people who are assaulting people. So I don't disagree with you. I'm just again looking at the extreme amount of pushback that she gets for even fathoming the idea that touching a girl without her consent is bad. And I feel like it's an uphill battle, but I don't disagree. So thank you. Miss Sparkles, you are here. Good evening and welcome.
Oh, thank you. Hello. Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh,
um yeah, I feel like I agree with I agree with a lot of what LB shared. Like there is it's important for us to I mean, like, yeah, it's important for us to not be afraid to call out the behavior. And I mean, at the very least, like, be able to have those tough conversations, especially like I know in my family, like, I'm Western, I have like a Caribbean background, and those people have no chill. They're very much traditional in the sense of like boys will be boys and da 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 da. Da. So, just even like calling it out in those instances and like making it known that like that's not okay is paramount to like I guess instilling the change. And it is challenging because there's a lot of people who feel like you know you're weird for even thinking that consent is, or like, yeah, you know what I mean, like that asking about those certain things is even okay, or like, you know what I mean. So I said a lot.
yeah. I don't disagree, by the way, especially that last part, because the way Patience made it seem like so wild and crazy that you would ask your partner for consent before you do something to them. And the exaggerated motions and noises she was making and speech she was doing, when I feel like it would just be something like, "Hey, babe, turn over," but she was like,
Right,
she
like
was extreme with it. So yeah.
right, like that middle English, like no, it's really not that deep. Like even and so imagine that, like even being in a space as a woman that you're expected to just be just be tossed over, and it's like, oh snap, I'm being flipped over. Uh-oh, that's happening. Like that's supposed to be like the norm. That's supposed to be commonplace in an act that involves two people, that is just like one person is just gonna do whatever they want to the other person. Like that's kind of crazy.
That is, I mean, the research does indicate that men are really aggressive during sex and that both men and women see that as something normal. Um, Now, I feel like our ideas around sex as a society are changing and we're moving away from that. But Patience articulates that she wants to go back to the good sex days, the good traditional sex days. So maybe that's what she wants to return to. Um, but I'm not with it. But
The
thank you.
more you say that, the more I'm like, yeah, no, she's full of it. You guys are right.
Like the idea that men are choking women and doing the stuff like this is very normalized during sex. Or the idea that sex is very male centric when we look at research regarding the O gap. It's not so far fetched. The data, like I feel like the data supports what you're saying. So
Okay, I have something, and okay. This reminds me. I was watching this YouTuber the other day. I'm not gonna say names, but because I don't know if that's appropriate. But so they presented a study on.
Oh.
I don't know if I can say this word. Um, Corn, like what types of corn women prefer to watch. And the study actually showed that a lot of straight women, they typically look at lesbian professional performances. Um, and I think that's because a lot of, adult films and stuff, they are very, like for straight people, I guess, they're very male centric. And it's very based on what a straight male, I guess, a typical straight male would find attractive to them. like kind of like the woman there is just really a blow up doll. However, with lesbian performances, even straight women are able to enjoy that more because it's more centered on also things that they enjoy and like more like communicating and like just stuff like that. So yeah, it is very male centric. And then if you think about just TV shows that we watch, movies we watch growing up, you didn't really see people talking before they do. They kind of just go into it, and the man like grabs the woman and does this, and like so it does appear to be that way, and it is pushed that way. But I do think that we are doing work, at least this generation and the generation before us, that a lot of that perception is changing. But we just have to continue to push the information out there, and men have to be willing to accept it as well.
The way you had me Googling stuff from the very first sentence you said, I was Googling things, and what you said is correct. And I think that's interesting because Patience even says something about the reason that guys are bad at that stuff happens like this in bed so much is because guys watch corn and get unrealistic expectation of what happens during sex. So I think it's interesting tidbit that you just noted. I'm not gonna comment on that though. I'm just reading. I'm just reading through some stuff here. Some interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Let's see. They're talking about the straight PORN is not pleasurable. It doesn't look pleasant. Don't nobody want somebody to do that to me. The girls are doing it better. They're actually doing stuff we like to see. Wow. Who? It's rough out here. It's rough out here for the straights. That's what it is. That is what it is. So, but thank you. I will let both of you wrap up if you would like to. Excuse me, the three of you to wrap up if you would like to. I will give you 1 minute. Y'all may share it however you wish to. If you want to wrap up, you don't have to. Then I'm going to play my interlude and we can go into the after show. Actually, let's go into the after show first.
You really want to catch fucking 350 pounds of dude on your ass?
Of course. Sounds like a good time. That's a good time to me. He hop on my meeting, he start riding me. I said, Daddy, don't stop it. Look how he drop it. Just like a pilot, I'm all in his cockpit. I lick the cock tip, I let the cock drip.
Just like a pilot, I'm all in his cock tip. Man, that's my jam.
Huh?
I
have a closing question because I wasn't paying attention earlier.
Yeah.
What
you can
was
ask about
happening with
anything
this?
besides the interlude.
Oh no, I love that thing. No
Okay.
questions. Okay. So just what was this about cannibalism? I got lost on that part. Like I zoned out and I don't even know what happened.
Feminism is bad because they're teaching about consent, but what if you consent to eat another person? Did feminists think of that? I feel like that's actually the point. I think that was actually the point. And I don't mean that ironically or to make fun of her. I think her point was feminism is bad because it only taught consent. But what if we consent to eat each other? I think that was the point. If I'm being as good faith as I can be.
Okay, either she's hella dumb or she's hella ignorant. I'm just over it. Okay. Thank you. That's my closing remark. Hella dumb or hella ignorant.
Thank you.
Or she thinks we're hella dumb or hella ignorant.
Ooh. No, she did.
No, I'm saying like she probably thinks that, her audience, she probably doesn't think very highly of her audience, if she could arrive at one point and then jump to that one. You know what I mean? That whole
with no explanation.
Right. I mentioned in the comment that there's a song about that specific incident that they mentioned about the cannibalism. If anyone is familiar with electronic metal, I guess. If you've heard of Rammstein, they have a song about
Ooh, I don't know. Runstein. I'll look up the song and listen to it.
Yeah, it's called Mein Teil, which means my part, and you know which part. So
My part.
Yeah.
By who?
Rammstein. Rammstein.
Rammstein.
Yeah.
Ah, wunderbar.
Indeed.
Yeah, you're gonna have to spell that one in the chat because I'm not.
I got you.
I can't even. Look, it's about 10:42 here. Y'all know I'm hard at work. Hard at work. Cultural misfit. Did you have anything to add? Thank you. Because I sure didn't spell it like that.
No, this was a very annoying stream, but pleasurable. So thanks for having it. It was stimulating. Okay, not pleasurable. It was stimulating, triggering, but I chose to be here. So thank you.
Thank you for joining and for contributing. And you too, Miss Sparkles and LB, even though she hopped down.
Yeah, thanks, Petty. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Now, goodbye. Have a good night.
Okay, have a good night, y'all.
Now for the niggatry. So y'all know that we are now done with the stream. In conclusion, I feel like Patience should put more effort into research. She should put more effort into connecting her thoughts, and she needs to explain what the consent framework is if she's going to talk about it for the whole video, because I need to understand what she's critiquing. She needs to cite what feminism that she's referencing when she says feminism told women about consent but nothing else. She needs to explain how she got to that conclusion instead of just assuming that we're all going to be on board with her. Now, her audience is all on board with her, and I didn't forget that you definitely sent a super chat bullet magnet that said, look at the comments. I did forget, but now I remembered it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of the comments to see what her audience was saying and if we agree. Let's see. People don't want to see the truth that sex is a very intimate thing. It's not just something casual that you do for fun, and you're probably going to catch feelings, a baby, or a disease eventually. People just don't understand that, guys. We know the sex rates are declining, but people just don't understand that sex is not casual, which is why the rate is declining. Maybe. No, I don't think that adds together, but there is going to be a lot of lonely people. Like most things in society, we swing from one extreme to the other. I think there are a lot of lonely people. The research indicates that there is a specific demographic that's very lonely. What really frustrates me is when people get into casual relationships but have expectations of a committed relationship. Also, sex is not and can never be casual. It's in fact the most non-casual thing you can do with another human being. The fact that we refer to it as casual sex is a huge oxymoron, which is evidence of the complete cognitive dissonance within the modern idea of relationships. Many people wouldn't even let a stranger drive their car, but somehow sex with a stranger isn't a big deal. That's a lot of words. Let's go through this. People get into casual relationships but have expectations of a committed relationship. Now, me personally, since we've been talking about communication for the whole day, I personally think, based on the type of advice that I've seen in the Manosphere, pickup artistry channels, and etc., I personally think the reason that people will be in a casual relationship but expect committed relationship stuff, usually the woman expecting the committed stuff, has to do with how the men approach women when they're dating. I don't think men approach women and they're like, hey, I'm interested in having sex with you. I don't really want to do anything else. I think men are kind of disingenuous with their intentions. I think that they are vague about what they want from the woman, or they might be, what is it called, breadcrumbing, where they're like, oh, I'm just interested in this, but maybe the relationship will evolve. I think they're not upfront about the idea that they only want to have sex with people. So this leads the woman to believe that they're not just being used as a fleshlight, but that the man actually likes them. And that's what I feel like causes this type of thing to happen in a relationship. But I could be wrong. Sex is not and can never be casual. So this guy doesn't get laid, which is fine. Not everybody has casual sex. Just because it can't be casual for you doesn't mean that's how it is for anybody. In fact, it's the most non-casual thing you can do with a human being. Disagree. The fact that we even refer to it as casual sex is a huge oxymoron, which is evidence of the complete cognitive dissonance within the modern idea of relationships. Y'all, I don't feel like sex is a big deal like that all the time. I feel like it can be. I feel like sometimes it can be casual, sometimes it can be committed. To some people, it's the most important thing in the world. To some people, it's just something to do. Especially the way the manosphere talk about sex, like they're just collecting bodies, and that's like the most important thing for a man. And I think Fresh and Fit say you need to sleep with 50 women before you get in a relationship, because 50 women will teach you something about marriage. I don't know. So I feel like it's definitely a spectrum, and it can be important or not important depending on who you are. Like if you're my 18-year-old friend who has never, 33-year-old friend who got married at 18 and has never had an orgasm and has only been with one partner, sex is probably a really big deal, and having sex with someone else is probably like an extremely big deal. If you're the other girls in that group chat, sex ain't nothing really. So yeah. Let's read one more. The main problem about casual relationships is that they will never be the same as real relationships. It's a completely different feeling when it comes to having sex with the person you're in love with compared to the person you're just physically attracted to. My issue with that is I feel like you don't have to love everybody not every relationship has to be a romantic and sexual relationship. Like I have a relationship with my boss and my coworkers, and I'm not sitting up here making YouTube comments talking about, the shame with cordial relationships is that it's not the same as talking to my wife, talking to my boss. It's cool, but it'll never be the same as a real relationship. Like, duh. I mean, anyway, Miri, thank you for the super chat. YouTube takes half of these. I don't know why I said that. They take their 50%. Can you imagine expecting respect from another human being with whom you're sharing your body, a foreign concept? Imagine. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a boy, what did they say, having to ask permission to touch you? How dare you? How dare you expect this man to think of like your autonomy or humanness or something? Like, how dare we? How dare we? A foreign concept. Just a foreign concept. Now we can get into these goddamn memes. Thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna leave it on screen for a while because it was $5. I can get a $5 fill up. Oh, actually, I'm in New Jersey right now, and I'm right next to New York, and the price of everything has increased a lot. McDonald's don't even have First of all, McDonald's used to have a dollar menu. They don't have a dollar menu anymore. It's a $1, $2, $3 menu. What is a $1, $2, $3 menu? What is that? Anyway, the $5 fill up is $7.50 here. I have no idea what is going on in this place. No idea. But the $5 fill up is $7.50. I don't even want to go to Subway. I don't even want to know what's going on with the footlong. I don't even want to know about it. Don't even tell me nothing about it. I'm not going there. I'm gonna live in my Delulu. That's what I'm gonna do. Now let me show y'all something, because this is important. Isn't New Jersey one of the most expensive states in the US? I didn't know that. If I had have only known. I'm sitting here like, let me find somewhere to rent. No, let me get big because this is important. Let me find somewhere to rent Why is rent starting at $17.50? So I'm gonna just have to be homeless forever. $17.50 studio. The apartment got 3.1 star reviews. $17.50. $1,600. The apartment got 1 star. I don't even want to tell y'all how much the 5-star apartments cost. I don't want to tell y'all how much the 4-star apartments cost. Just niggatry. The whole state of New Jersey. That's probably what NJ stands for, niggatry. They just used the wrong letter. But let me show y'all what I saw. This says not even. Let me read some of these comments. You ain't black if you never had this. Well, they might as well be Joe Biden because they don't have any authority to tell me who is and ain't black based on this video. Welcome, Yasmin. You made it to the memes. You came at the right time. You better find a sugar mama. I'm trying. I paid $1,500 for a basement apartment in New Jersey 10 years ago, but you probably got a whole apartment. They talk about a studio. Oh my goodness. A studio. You didn't research where you. Why? I'm trying to watch memes with y'all, and y'all are just, what's going on? Somebody's calling me. These are hoe hours. Y'all know I don't pick up the phone at hoe hours. Why you couldn't call me at between 8 and 5 p.m.? That's what you should have did. It stopped boiling. When they poured it in there, it stopped boiling. Let me see. I don't think it was boiling in the first place. Brewing up a potion, cooking up that glop. I threw up. Okay, let's go to something else. What is this? Let's see what this is. Oh, no. Here's what it is. Here's something. Let me figure out what happened here.
Hey. Hi. What you doing? Reading. Hey. Hi. What you doing? Reading. Hey. Hi. What you doing? Reading.
They say her heart dropped. Why would why would you come around this corner recording? So you saw her over there smoking this box mod or something, or what, I don't know what the kids call it, Juul, the vapes, that's what it's called. I don't know what the kids call it. And you gonna sit there and pull out a camera, leave the room, pull out a camera, and come back in and catch. And why do kids do this when they get caught?
Hi. What you doing? Reading.
What you doing? I'm just reading. So you gonna act like I can't see you? I have no idea what's wrong with kids. Let me see what they're saying in the comments. Oh my God. Smoking and reading a book is crazy. She was actually had it open and was reading it. When I was a kid, I did the same thing, but with like candy or soda, not a box mod. So this is called a box mod. She's not drinking alcohol. It's like a vape or something. It's a vape, but it's called a box mod, but I'm not nerdy, so I don't know what that means, but it can't be good for her throat. Can't be. What is this? Oh no, I don't want to see an old lady fall down the escalators right now. Let me remove these until I find what I need. What is this? Oh, this was just weird. I don't think this is a meme. It's just weird.
Well, for those who don't know, I am a school shooter. I did 17 years in prison.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Let me see what the caption says. He's a school shooter. Somebody asked, have you spoken to any of your old classmates? I'm going to go down that rabbit hole probably tonight. So We can't watch that right now, but I need to understand why you doing a class reunion and you shot the school up. That's what I need to understand. Hey guys, I haven't seen you forever. I saw y'all were doing the homecoming. Okay, anyway. Let me see. What's on here? What do I have on here? I can't show y'all these memes. This is so unfortunate. These are not things I can show to the public. Let's go to Instagram because TikTok right now is not suitable for work. Yeah, since I'm at work, apparently it's not suitable for work. Let me tell a story about my friend real quick before I pull these memes up. So my friend talks a lot, and she was telling me that was so rude. I don't know why I said that. Wait, I've been talking into the back of the microphone the whole time, and y'all wasn't gonna tell me. Anyway, my friend is talking about. She doesn't talk a lot, but I feel like she gets on one topic and goes down a rabbit hole. And the rabbit hole that she went down was if she's being stalked, it's going to be real easy for the stalker to get her. And she went down this rabbit hole of telling me why it would be easy for the stalker to get her. And I tune in and out of conversations sometimes because I'll be at work or doing whatever. And she said something that like got my attention for some reason. And she was like, oh, because whenever I go to Walmart, I always park in the same parking spot. Right here on the side in these 4 spaces. I always get one of those spaces because it's the quickest walk to the door and it's out of the way. And I always park there so he could see me and come grab me. And that's why I've been talking to my mom about carrying her knife or getting some pepper spray and woo. That way, if somebody approach me, I can woo. And I think I said something like, you can't just stab somebody if they if they come up to you. And I was like, I can't imagine being like, excuse me, miss, you dropped your wallet. And she's like, rape, and just starts in my chest 52 times with the knife. And my friend was like, well, you should. That's exactly what I'm going to do too. I thought she was going to be like, oh no, I'm not gonna. No, it's just like if someone is in my personal space or if they keep coming towards me and I say stuff. I thought she was going to say something like that, but she was like, nope, that's why am I getting called twice and it's hoe hours? Let me find out. My friend is upset that her story is being discussed, but it's fine. She's like, yeah, exactly. You shouldn't be in my personal space. I'm gonna start. If you're talking about you drop your prayer, I'm gonna start stabbing and I'm gonna ask questions later. You should be scared to approach me, and you need to be at least 6 feet away. At least 6 feet away. At least 6 feet away. Okay, I'm getting multiple calls. I feel like this might be an emergency. Should we pick up the phone together? First, let's watch this.
Y'all ever heard of bussies? I'll tell you what, I tried it for the first time the other day. Loved it. Didn't think I would, but I love bussies. Big fan of bussies now. Real friendly place. They told me to come inside. I did. Had the time of my life. I actually left for a minute. Came inside again. Just as much fun the second time around. I'll be honest, I'll probably stop for a bussies anytime I see one from now on. Y'all should too. You know, give it a shot. Try bussies. Look, they even got this little bussy beaver guy up here. That's pretty funny. Try bussies. Y'all ever heard of bussies? I'll tell you what, I tried it for the first time the other day. Loved it. Didn't think I would, but I love bussies. Big fan of
Okay, that wasn't supposed to repeat. That wasn't supposed to repeat. But I didn't know that is a actual store. I put y'all on hold so I could check the phone. Yeah, that was the whole music. Sorry. But yeah, that's an actual store, y'all. I didn't even know. I don't know how it's. Hold up, let me pull up the image so y'all can see I'm not lying. Bucksies. Dive face first into some booksies. Apparently that's a real store. I don't care to look up the pronunciation. I choose to believe what I want to believe about the pronunciation. That's what I want to do. Now let's go to the next meme. Lady at Home Depot bought a plastic box to keep her hair from the rain.
At Home Depot bought a plastic box to keep her hair from the rain. Lady at Home Depot bought a plastic box to keep her hair from the rain.
Let's get in these comments. I'd take that box back in for a refund. She about to sue these people, not the door closing. Like, that's all, folks. Let me see. All right. The rain was like, let me see. Home Depot has umbrellas. Ouch, at least it made sort of a good helmet. I hope she's okay. I'd be the partner at home asking what's the tote for. Someone's getting cursed out. All right. That's enough of that. Let me see what's going on here.
First thing I did when I became the pastor is I got up on the stage and I said, she's not y'all first lady.
No, nope, nothing serious right now. No, thank you. This is the end of the stream. Nope, I'm not. Nope.
Yeah, why y'all put cheese on my cheeseburger? I'm sorry, what? Shut your bitch ass. Someone come in there and shoot your. Yeah, why y'all put cheese on my cheeseburger? I'm sorry, what? Shut your bitch ass. Someone come in there and shoot your.
Y'all don't ask me why I laughed at this. I don't. First of all, it's never good to threaten someone with violence. Petty, I thought you were from Texas. You've never been to Bussies? No, I have not. I hope it's supposed to be pronounced Buckies. I choose to believe what I want to believe. Y'all can believe what y'all want to believe. That's what we can do. Why did they put cheese on his cheeseburger? Those people don't get paid enough. Now she's flabbergasted. He's got a point. No, he don't. He like the big green fish from SpongeBob. Aww. Aww. Okay. This is not funny at all, and IDGAF about the ones that find it funny, just commenting to share my dislike towards this unfunny-ish with the ones who feel the same way. Oh, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad. Oh, that was funny though. Came to finish him off. Okay, let's see what's going on.
Not. I am.
Oh my.
Not. I am.
Anywho, let me see what the comments say. I don't know why I like going through the comments. He stole the kill. Finish him. Bro smelled weakness. Is this guy bothering you, bro? He's one shot. Bro called backup. Good thing the video cut off or that car would have been gone. Guarantee that was a Swift truck. I do think it was a Swift truck. I do think it was a Swift truck. Let's see. Okay, what's going on here? Now, why are you sitting there? I'm sorry, this isn't funny. According to this comment that I don't know if it's legitimate or not. Hey, to those guys wondering, this happened in Northeast Brazil. She did not have a knife, but indeed assaulted him for not accepting the end of the relationship. The video was a Facebook Live, and he was afraid for his life. In the full video, he cries and screams that he worked so hard to build this house, and now the gate is broken. He was not killed. So I don't know if that's real or not, because this is literally just a random comment on this video. Like, I'm not treating it with any legitimacy at all. But why are you sitting? I feel like if I see somebody, first of all, the caption says how I want my girl to be. I feel like men are kind of stupid, but anyway, because I don't know why you would want your girl to be like this. But why are you? I feel like, why are you watching somebody break the gate down? Why are you? I feel like, I hope this doesn't sound racist. I feel like this is kind of a white people thing. I've seen this phenomenon, and this is a theory I'm working on. Don't treat it with treat it with a grain of salt, please, because it's just a theory, and I don't have the evidence yet. I haven't conducted the research yet, but I be seeing white people watch something happen all the way up till it happens to them, and only then do they react. Only then, like it could be a plane falling out of the sky right towards them, and they're just sitting up staring at it like, that looks like it's about to fall right on me. It looks like it's coming right this way. Now, if I was over there, I think it would miss me, but it looked like it's falling right down right here on me. Is that now that car looks like it's coming awfully close to me. I don't know, like I don't know if white people feel like they're invincible. I don't know if it's just living a carefree life. I literally don't know, but I feel like this is white people. I know we typically talk about white people-ish as if like we're going jet skiing or extreme sports, but I feel like this is the real white people-ish. Just watching things happen all the way up until they get to your face. Let me see this one more time. And then the cutoff scream. The cutoff scream is what really got me. That's what really got me. Let's see what this is.
Point of the smart shut automatic door closer. What do you mean, lil nigga? The point of the smart shut is to get your doors to close automatically without you forgetting to close or your family members leaving your door wide open. And plus, imagine how cool you'd look whenever your door closes itself. Link in bio. What's the point of the smart shut automatic door closer? What do you mean, lil nigga? The point.
I don't know. This is a legitimate advertisement from a legitimate company that sells this product. I don't know what it is about hearing the advertisement, hear the N-word with the AI voice, but I just wasn't ready for that. So I thought we should all hear it together. Ooh. Oh, all the comments are in Spanish. Oh, I can't read Spanish that well. I want to ja too. I want to ja with everybody. First and last birthday. Blew his candles out and threw him out the chair. What kind of family is this? Normalize not smashing people's face in cakes. Bro killed him on his birthday. This is how a villain is born. Bro didn't make it to 2. Apparently, that's like a normal thing for people to smash cake inside of somebody's face. So I'm gonna see if there's a one more meme we can look at. Oh no, I can't show that on screen. Can't show that on screen. Come on. Where is the good memes? I need to understand what this meme is. I can't show that to y'all. I'm just looking for one more appropriate one. Let's look at this together because I think this is important. I do talk about white people, but I do think it's important to know their culture. I'm looking for the black people. That's what I'm looking for. Just one. I wonder what this is. What is this training for? I don't even think this was a meme to show you guys. I think I was just confused. Oh, the comments. Okay, that's what's going on. The comments are doing what the comments do. Instagram comments are ruthless. You need to end the stream. Okay, yeah. It's about that time, huh? Well, thank you guys for staying with me. Be sure to leave a like if you haven't left a like already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for hold up. Where is it? Because this is important. Thank you, darling Nikki, for becoming a member. The membership is only $1. It's actually 99 cents, and YouTube takes half of that. I'm gonna keep saying that because I need to understand what YouTube is doing to deserve that. I need to understand that. Woman has been breastfeeding her husband since 2017, says it has made their relationship stronger. Let's not watch that. Let's watch this instead.
I'm Mr. Sterling's right-hand arm, man. I'm Mr. Sterling everything. I'm his confidant, his best friend, his silly rabbit. His what? His silly rabbit. His silly rabbit.
Why did the interviewer say his what? You heard me.
Yes. Is that what he calls you? No. I'm Mr.
Is that what he calls you? No.
Sterling's right-hand arm, man. I'm Mr. Sterling everything. I'm his confidant, his best friend, his silly rabbit. His what? His silly rabbit. His silly rabbit? Yes. Is that what he calls you? No. I'm Mr. Sterling.
Oh my God. Let me see what the comments say. Right hand arm man. I love that she has appointed herself his silly rabbit without authorization. That's just what a silly rabbit would say. Who is Mr. Sterling and why isn't he calling this woman his silly rabbit? My pronouns are arm/man. Oh no. Huh. I'm Mr. Sterling everything. Oh my God, is she a hostage? Side chicks? Oh no, oh no. What's going on with SpongeBob?
What about you, Patrick? A big nigga's gotta eat.
Remember that?
What about you, Patrick? A big nigga's gotta eat.
Do y'all remember that scene? Do y'all remember that scene? I don't think I remember this one. Oh no, we got caught in the memes. We got caught in the memes, y'all. How did we get caught in the memes? How did we get caught in the memes? Name something. Steve Harvey's always funny.
Name something Abraham Lincoln probably used to ride on.
Miss Lincoln.
Name something.
Wait. Oh, damn. Oh, wait. Hold up.
Abraham Lincoln probably used to ride on.
Miss Lincoln.
Name.
She's fast and honest. All right. That was a fast one. We got to get one more. We got to get one more. What is this? No. I want something funny. The worst she can say is no.
Princess, I want to marry you. What? Are you out of your mind? Are you sick? Huh? What is wrong with... Look at this village useless thing. So you have the guts to say such thing to me, right? Get out of here, my friend. You want me to call the guards? My friend, get out! Look at him. Get out of here! Move! Get out!
Oh, the worst she can say is no. She said, get out of here, my friend. Okay, this is the last one. The mean gays invite you over for some fun. Sparkle.
Hey, come in.
Thanks.
Do you want some water? No, I'm okay.
You look dehydrated.
Water's like really good for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So when did you take those photos?
On my profile, last week.
Wow, a lot has happened in a week.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, it was so nice meeting you.
So nice.
Yeah. Text us when you...
You don't have to text us. Bye.
I've never been over to the Mean Gays house, but I feel like that is exactly what I would expect. The cicadas were paid actors. Oh my God. The apartment looked fairly bright despite all the shade in the room. Honestly, you wouldn't even have to kill me after this. I'd just die. The unflinching judgmental stares have triggered a certain type of PTSD that I didn't know I had. This was low-key horrifying. Wow, a lot has happened in a week. I did not catch that. You look dehydrated. Ow. Okay, I promised. Hey, I went there before. It's the Museum of Ice Cream. Where's my Museum of Ice Cream photos? Hold up. Never mind, we're done. We're done, guys.
Oh shit! Alex! Oh shit! Alex!
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining. Make sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Become a member if you haven't already. It's only $1. You don't have to become a member. But you do have to leave a like. And that's what you guys should do. Oh, here's a link to the Discord. I'll open the Discord today. Welcome. Let there be light. Come on in. Come on. Let's have some fun and talk about some PP stuff, Prince.petti stuff in the Discord. I think that's gonna be open for 7 days. Welcome. All right. Good. Have a all right. Alrighty. I guess you wanted some more. Well, here's 3 more seconds.